Hey, we are live tonight on Thursday, the 30th of November, 2017. We're still waiting for Patricia Steere to join us. She's written to me that one of her cats has gone missing for the cat, and then she'll be on the hangout. So hurry up, Kitty, come home. But in the meantime, obviously, we've got with us Judith from Israel, Patricia from the UK, and Artist from Germany.
Hello.
Good evening, everybody.
Oh, hang on, I've got some messages. Patricia was there just a second ago. Anyway, Artist, just over to you because you found this really interesting stuff and then it's been taken off the internet. So I'm just going to put Artist on.
Okay.
There you go, Artist.
Thank you, Karen. Yeah, it was interesting. I found something about the blue coats on the fruit. You can see in this picture. Here you have the blue started with a 3, and a 4, and a 9, and an 8. It's sometimes 4 digits, sometimes 5 digits. It doesn't really matter. But if it starts with a 3, it's sprayed with pesticides. If it starts with a 4, it's also sprayed with pesticides. And if it starts with a 9, it's 100% organic and free of pesticides. And but if it starts with an 8, it's genetically modified, so a GMO fruit. And this is from another site, but what this site was basically, they put it, it is not there anymore on the internet because it was, they got a strike of some sort. And that information was deleted from the internet, that the site, you had to get it off the internet. So that is strange that the site with the great information about the fruits and the numbers on the fruit is had to be deleted from the internet because you got a strike. So that's strange for me, because the site was there from about 2011. And all of a sudden, it's gone now. Basically, if you go to the site, it has. It's also, if you go to the site, it says this. I can quickly go to it. Account is suspended. You can see 2011. That fruit organic labels will tell you 3, 4, 9.
At YouTube or Facebook?
This was a site, an internet site.
Oh, no.
The whole site is gone. And the account is suspended. But if you type in only this word.com and you leave out the rest behind it, it's still gone. So this whole site, this whole is gone for some reason. It was suspended. So it's strange because it was there from 2011 and all of a sudden it's gone. So that's strange to me. But luckily, if I see a great site like that, I copy it in a PDF file. So I make a copy of the whole file on a PDF file. That's what I often do with
you, Artist. Why do you think they took it off? Because you're showing it on our channel.
Well, I think because of this, and I blacked out the text. Because this text was basically against Monsanto. And he didn't state it as a possibility or what he thought it was. He stated as a fact. And if you state something about Monsanto as a fact, yeah, that's not very smart, of course. And I think that Monsanto saw this and he was very rude in his opinion about Monsanto. And I think therefore that channel was suspended. That's why I blocked it out in black now. So they can't do any harm. Because you can't see it anymore. Only so I make the text black with a marker. So because this is probably the text, because therefore he got a strike, and the channel was suspended. Oh no, don't worry. And basically, what everybody is great to learn is the labels on the fruit. Here you can see an orange, and then it starts with a 3. And you already know it starts with a 3. It's sprayed with pesticides. And you also have a rhyme. It's sometimes easy to remember it in a rhyme. And I remember those codes. That guy from this channel remembered the code from fruit and veg using a simple rhyme. 8 is hate, so that's GMO fruit, and 9 is fine. So that's a very easy to remember for the English-speaking persons, of course. So and 8 is hate, and that is GMO food, and we all know that the GMO food is, it's not that healthy for you because and also the GMO food they change it so much that often those fruits also have to be sprayed more. Yeah, you know all the story about the GMO food probably, so I won't go in that any further. And the basic here you have a 3. If you buy 3 or 4, starting with a 3 or 4, you're sure to watch our food thoroughly before cooking or eating. The orange peel before you could be saturated with poison. So don't use the peel in any recipe. That won't be smart because there's probably poison. Even if you wash it thoroughly, you can maybe wash it with milk because milk is also makes the poison go away if you put something in milk. A lot of people also drink milk sometimes to make sure that some bad chemicals are not in the body anymore. But sometimes some people don't drink milk at all, but that's a whole nother story. You can always clean your fruit with milk to make the poison go away. And here you can see one with the 4. So this mango has a clue number 4. It's conventionally grown. Well, yeah, not organically, but basically conventionally. So you can further look into that, of course, yourself. And there aren't a lot of channels talking about this. That's what I find very strange. If you type in plume numbers and on fruit, it's very hard to find actually a site who gives you any information about it. And I think there should be more sites talking about this because I think it's I think everybody should know this because then they can make their choices on their own. They can say, "Oh, it's cheap. Well, I take it anyway and take the risks for buying fruit that is sprayed with pesticides." And this is an organically apple. You can I blow it up. Oh, that's very big. A little bit smaller. Well, like this. And then you can see this one starts with a 9. This is an organically grown apple, and it's not sprayed with pesticides. It's prohibited to spray those fruits with pesticides. So here you can see the text. You can always pause this video later on when it's uploaded and read the text for yourself. So I will go to every text and wait a second and blow it up a little bit so everybody can read it for themselves. So I start at the beginning. Is that fruit organic or not? Labels will tell you. And then I will scroll down very slow so everybody can read this part. So later on you can pause it and read it. We go to the next one. Make it also a little bit bigger. So everybody can read this more clear. So that's very handy. The next one. Also make it a little bit bigger so everybody can read it more better. Is this able to read? Can you read this, Karen? Is this big enough?
Yes, it's coming out. It's coming out really clear.
Okay, that's great. Because later on, when this video uploaded, people can pause it and read it in their own pace. But that's why I show every picture. So people can look at it carefully. All the way down. It's one of the last ones. It also says organic on the label already. But you know, 9 is fine and 8 is hate. So 9 is organic and organically grown and not sprayed with pesticides. And 8 is GMO fruit. And yourself if you want to buy and eat that fruit or not. That's your choice. Now you know the numbers on the fruit and what they mean. And I think it's important that you know what they mean. Because a lot of people didn't know it. And I think it's important that people know these kind of things so they can make up their mind for themselves if they want to buy it or not. And it's your choice. It's with all things you buy in a supermarket. I often encourage everybody to read the packages and the ingredients and ingredient list and look for strange additives and preservatives, because they put a lot of strange additives and preservatives in all kinds of processed food. And you can decide for yourself if you want to eat those kinds of foods with the bad additives and preservatives in them. That's your choice, but I encourage everybody to do research. There are a lot of sites that talk about all the additives and preservatives and which are bad or which are good, because not all additives are bad, of course. In Europe, we have a system with E numbers. Basically, you see the E number, the E and then the number, and that relates to a certain kind of additives or preservative. But way back, those numbers for organically additives and preservatives were different from the chemical ones. But when the European Union became one, those numbers also became one. So it's now very hard to tell if you have an additive or a preservative, if it's natural or not. So, yeah. But sometimes you can, they state it behind it. They state an E number or an additive and preservative name. And behind it, they state it's organic, then you know it's organic. Or they state behind it what kind of things they use, organically used for that. Some like crushed nuts or other powders, they are organically. So I encourage everybody to read the packages on products, and if it looks like a chemistry exam, don't buy it. That's how I basically say it the simplest way. If you see some product in the supermarket and you think, well, this almost looks like a chemistry exam, this ingredient list, don't buy it, because the chances of it having a very bad additives and preservatives is very high. But that is basically what I want to make everybody aware of. Read
TV's asking, do bananas have a 3 or a 9, or does it just depend?
It depends how it is grown. If it's organically grown, it has a 9 and a number behind it. They're all different, 964. It starts with a 9. If it's organically grown, it's a blue number. And it's also the number for scanning the fruit and distributing the fruit, so everybody can see what they are buying. That's why those codes are there, also for the supermarket owners to see what they are buying. It's basically a label that tells you what kind of fruit it is, if it's organically, if it's genetically modified, if it's sprayed with pesticides or not.
Can I just say for one moment, I've just heard from Patricia Steere. She says that this cat never goes outside, and somebody was painting her door and they put the cat outside. So she said there's nothing she can do but look for him, and she's really upset at the moment because she can't find her cat. So we just have to carry on and hope that she comes on then.
Yeah.
And that the cat comes back. Carry on, artist.
Yeah. Maybe they had a flat earth meeting, all the cats in the neighborhood. Who knows?
No, I suppose if he doesn't go out.
No.
Maybe he's not.
My neighbor cat has also a cat. And the first time when he went out, he was, he didn't know everything. He wasn't scared of certain dogs. He wasn't scared of certain things he should be scared of, because he didn't learn to be scared of certain things, because he was never outside. So it's sometimes for cats not very good to go outside if they never went outside, because they don't know the dangers. They have to learn it, because they of course have the instincts. But yeah, I hope everything turns out for the best for cats.
Yeah.
Yes, she loves her cats dearly. So I understand that she first wants to make sure that the cats are safe.
I'm just going to say, are you sure he's not inside the house? Are you sure he's not hiding in the house? Well, you never know.
Yeah.
I had somebody like that. They had a new cat, and the cat went out, and everybody was looking for it, and it was actually sitting right at the back underneath his chest of drawers. It was actually lying upstairs.
Yeah. And so sometimes the cats are in the strangest places. My neighbor's cat is also a little bit strange cat, but maybe also the cats are a little bit strange sometimes. And he went, he couldn't find him. He was searching and searching and searching. And he found his cat was in his car. When he was getting out his groceries out of his car and walking back and forth, the cat went into his car and went behind the seat. And he didn't saw it, so he closed the doors of the car and went inside. And later on, he couldn't find his cat. He was searching around, and then somebody found his cat in his car. So sometimes cats go in the strangest places.
Yeah, well, I hope the cat comes back.
Yeah, me too.
My son also decided, one of my sons has got a cat, but they decided they didn't like their neighbourhood, so they don't let their cat out where they live.
Mm-hmm.
It's a house cat.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with the house cat. Oh, and also what happened, it was, there's another story, just basically, we're going to talk a little bit about cat stories. My neighbor's cat, he does a lot of strange things. And this one was very, a little bit sad for the cat. My neighbor was clipping his hedge, so he was doing gardening work. And then his cat was playing around, and he pushed the cat aside because, he had sharp tools to clip the hedge. And then the cat sprung up, and he clipped, and he basically cut off his tail. So he cut off the whole tail of the cat, and the cat was shouting very hard, and everybody went outside to see what happened. But he rushed to the veterinarian for cats, and luckily they could put a bandage on it. But basically now he's a cat without a tail, so he's the
Hoodie.
yeah. Everybody was
There you
sad
go.
about it.
The cat was hiding inside. What did I say?
Yeah, was he hiding inside? Where? Now she has to tell us where. We're all curious.
He's in the drawer, chest of drawers. She sent me a picture, so just see what she's got to say. Found him. How did the drawer get shut? I'm relieved. I can still come on if I was outside panicking. Yeah, you wanted to come on. Come on, Patricia.
Yeah, tell your cat story. We're all curious now.
So I'm just writing to. I just wrote. I bet he's inside.
Yeah, sometimes cats are hiding in the strangest places.
She's coming. She's coming.
And now she has to show. Now she has to show the cat, of course. Which cat was it? Rory or that other one?
The ginger one.
That's Rory, I think, or not?
You know my cat's names, do you?
I'm very bad with names. So
sounds like you're really good.
I think it was Rory is the one, the ginger one, I think. Well, we will hear it in a couple of minutes. Which cat?
Yeah, when she comes on.
Cats hide in the strangest places. Also, I found a little bit. I have a big tree in my backyard with needles on it, and that cat also jumped into that tree, and he sprung up, wow, because it was all pointy needles in that tree. So cats do sometimes try out the strangest things. Hey, Patricia.
Hello, I'm
Patricia's
really sorry,
here.
guys.
Hello, Patricia. Oh my goodness, what happened?
Well, I had a house painter over to paint my front door, and when you paint your front door, your door is sort of left open. But he and I sat on the front porch and just talked about nothing, and he had a direct eye view to my cats if they came out, and I have 3, and they don't go outside. Anyway, a little bit, right before my time, 3 o'clock, which is your time, 9 in the UK, Karen, and everyone, I was getting ready to come over here and sit down, and I always give my cats some food before, so they'll be amused and not come jump over here. And only 2 cats came out to eat. And then my heart sank, thinking, where is he? So I started calling my cat Rory, 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 to the point where, oh my gosh, I've said that name a million times. Dead silence, nothing. And my cats don't hide in the house. They're not that kind of cat. And I thought, oh my gosh, my painter and I must have looked away when the front door was wide open and Rory must have got out. It's the only logical explanation. So I was outside calling and looking and thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to make posters. I hope a dog doesn't kill him. And my mind was going paranoid. And then I came back inside, messaged you a few times, Karen. And then I heard this noise that sounded like shh, 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 shh. And I said, Rory, and shh, shh. I didn't know where it was coming from, but no meowing. Finally, I was going through all the rooms, and the place is not that big. Looking in oak drawers, they don't hide, so that would be weird. The other cats were just wandering around. And finally, one of the bottom drawers of my dresser, which was closed, I heard a noise and opened it, and there he was. It was so weird. And I know that's very anticlimactic. I'm sorry, but I'm so relieved.
Cat in the drawer.
I'm so relieved. But I don't know how the drawer got closed. The other cats, maybe. It's a conspiracy. You look really pretty, by the way, Karen.
Where's my last picture? The cat's in the house.
Yeah, you did. But of course, I was away, outside. Rory. I mean, I wasn't crying, but it was close. Okay.
Big, deep breath, Patricia.
It's no big deal. These are what they call first world problems. We have much bigger problems that we all face on a daily basis. But I did take a picture of Rory when I found him. I'll show it because it's really stupid and I feel moronic, but this is Rory in the drawer that was closed. So, oops. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I don't have children, so I can't relate. If your child went missing, it's a much more horrendous thing, of course. But to me, that's what I have. And hello, Patricia. So,
Patricia.
Hi. Enough about me. Patricia, the colors behind you are very beautiful and orangey.
Thank you.
That's Judith. Judith in Israel. Patricia's next to her.
Oh, you're right. Sorry. Oh, yes. I should go put my glasses on. Hi.
And of course, you heard Artist's voice.
Yes,
Artist
I did.
was, while we were waiting.
Go back to what you were talking
Come
about.
on.
I just need to chill out for a minute because I'm.
Patricia Steere.
Yeah, let's talk about important things. I know my cat's important to me. It's not important to anybody watching this, but we've all lost a pet for a moment or someone. It's a momentary panic, and
That's
all is
okay,
well.
Patricia.
Okay.
The cats do the strangest things.
Happy story.
I was talking about my neighbor cat. He also does the strangest things.
Well, I think the 2 cats, one jumped in a drawer and the other said, here's a trick we'll play on, Patricia, and just closed the drawer and walked around like nothing was going on. Anyway, so Dick, is that how you say it in Israel with the pretty peach colored walls?
Yes, Patricia, I'm from Israel.
How do you spell your name so I'm making sure? U-D-I-T. I think I see it on the screen now.
That's right.
Judith.
Yes.
Lovely to meet you. I'm sorry I thought you were Patricia, but I have to really concentrate my eyes, or I could go get my glasses, but I was too busy running around outside. What were you talking about before I so rudely interrupted you with my cat madness?
Well, we basically were talking about cats, and they do the strangest things. So we already was, and therefore we were talking about the labels on fruit, how to recognize the labels on fruit.
Now, the labels on fruits in America, I've noticed in the past, I don't know, maybe 10 years. But what about other countries? Does every country have fruit?
Well, every country, what I it was basically in American site, as far as I know, but the site was suspended, so that's strange. You talk about fruit and your site gets suspended.
After artists found all this information taken down.
Yeah, it was there from 2011, and for some reason they got a strike or something, and it was suspended. Maybe it was because he was also talking about Monsanto on his site, so maybe that was the cause that they suspended his site. And what I found was on the other side, but basically what I did is this apple I made myself. That it turned the leaf the other around, so yeah, you can recognize the GMO. And it's handy to know all the fruits have also in America, in England, in Germany, in the Netherlands, they have the same type of numbering system, because fruit is, of course, sold all around the world. So they have one system of numbering on the food. It's called a Plu number here in Germany. I don't know if that's the same.
I think we've got, I think I've heard that number, the PLU number, or Plu, I guess you pronounce it. Yeah, I wish I had an apple. I need to go to the grocery store after our talk today. Yeah. I wish I could grab one, but yeah, and I can't even stand to look at, I buy organic. A lot of people would criticize me for doing that because, there's no guarantee that it's really organic. If I'm not growing my own, the next thing that I would do would be to buy organic. At least I've got a fighting chance at it being not non-filled with toxins.
Indeed. And what in the supermarket, if you want to recognize, because not always they put an organic sign near on the apples or the display, and you can recognize it on the Plu number. It starts with a 9. So if it's 9, you can also remember it as a rhyme a bit. If it's 9, it's fine.
Good to know, because sometimes in the markets here in the States, the stores that sell organic, they have a big square area, and then it's divided, and then there's this type of apple, and then a little higher this. It's a beautiful display. But sometimes I've noticed it says organic, and then there's a few different mixed kinds in there, and you're wondering, did they fall in from the other parts? And so I'm always looking at the label and trying to see, because some of ours say organic on the label as well.
Indeed, some say organic on the labels as well, but if it starts with a 9, it's fine, and then it's 100% organic and it's not sprayed with pesticide. If it has an 8 on it, like the one on the far right, then it's genetically modified, so that's a GMO apple.
What do you think is worse, the one on the right or the one on the left, or second one into the left? Would you rather eat a GMO apple or a sprayed with pesticide apple? Which would be worse?
Nice choice.
Yeah, that would be a very hard to. Well, maybe there are some ways with purified water or even milk that you can.
They sell things in stores here that you're supposed to wash your fruit in, but I remember growing up as a child, if you get an apple, I lived in Michigan, pick an apple off a tree, you just sort of wiped it on your shirt and you were good to go. And that probably was sprayed with some kind of pesticides back in the 70s. Sure.
Yeah, also, you can peel an apple, of course.
This is true.
Yeah. So most of the pesticides is in the upper skin of the apple. So if you peel it a little bit thick and wash it, of course, very thoroughly with things you can also get the chemicals away from the apple. Sometimes it even helps to soak it in milk. Because
I've heard baking soda is good too. Baking soda is good for everything.
So indeed, there are some things you can also search on the internet how to get rid of the pesticides on the upper layer. But of course, if I had to choose, then between a genetically modified one and a sprayed one, well, I would take the sprayed one because then I can always clean it. And then, yeah, of course I would buy organic, but if I can't buy organic apples, then I would go with the sprayed one. Then you have a chance of cleaning it.
What a shame this is our world.
And then a lot of people don't know this. They buy apples and don't look at all. Because I talked to a lot of people about this, and a lot of people didn't know that you can easily distinguish different kinds of apples, how they are grown on the numbers.
I didn't know about I knew the numbers would tell you something, but I never thought to look. I just kind of looked because ours have the same sort of, numbers and the barcode, and then it'll say organic or organic grown in Mexico or something on it. I found this article quickly from happyhealthymama.com. And the question is how to remove pesticides from fruit and vegetables. And some people say white vinegar. I don't know why I thought baking soda. White vinegar is another awesome thing to clean. It says you've got to soak the fruit in there for 20 minutes. That's a long time.
Yeah.
I mean, most of the time when we want to eat an apple, we just go 20 minutes. You've got to know you're going to want an apple ahead of time.
Yeah, or you
20 minutes.
or you can also already soak them all at
Very
once.
True.
And put them in the fruit basket afterward.
I take when I buy organic, I bring them home. I don't wash them, but I take those stickers off them. I take the stickers off my organic bananas too. I don't like seeing them. Not just because I don't find them to be pretty, because they're not pretty, but also because it reminds me of this weird plastic world we live in, where we have to have stickers on fruit. Because natural fruit, well, you have to be selective when buying it, not just avoid the bruises or insects. No, you have to avoid the poison fruit. So it's depressing to see fruit with stickers on it in your fruit bowl, for me anyway. So I take them off when I come home because I know they're organic. I'm the only one that lives here. It is weird. As a child, we didn't have that. We didn't have chemtrails. We didn't have any of this. We probably had other things that were bad, of course. But it's a shame now. There's kids growing up now who've only seen fruit with stickers on it and vegetables, things marked organic and non-organic. What we call organic today, our parents just called food.
Yeah. Because back in the day, it was basically all organic.
Don't know that the apples are put in coolers and are left there all winter.
Mm-hmm.
So like maybe April, June time, they're still last year's apples, so they're not really that fresh.
Also, I have another one. Often when you buy organic fruit, you have oranges, and you have also a fruit that looks like oranges, but it's a little bit smaller. We have them a lot.
Tangerine, humors.
Yeah,
I love those.
Orange, but there was a stand in the supermarket. There was a woman selling organic food, and all the oranges and all the small oranges had green patches on them. And that's what they say. Green patches, aren't they ripe? No, they are supposed to look like that, because a lot of time they heat those small oranges to make them more purple. So a lot of fruit is heated in a high temperature to make the outside peel more orange. I didn't know that either. So now I buy those oranges because they have green patches on them, because they are supposed to have that. And a lot of time they even painted the oranges with an orange color to make them look more orange. That's ridiculous, but it's...
I'm looking up the PLUs. I didn't even know they were called that. But one of the questions in this thing called triviahappy.com, just something random I looked up. I'm sure there's better sources, but I'm doing it on the fly on my phone. One of the questions is, are the stickers edible? Surprisingly enough, the answer is maybe.
Oh, maybe.
There's no regulation on the ink on them, so the ink could be toxic, but the paper is, some of it is edible. I guess, imagine if you're blind. Well, I guess you could feel for a sticker, but I'm looking at a video on how they put the labels on the fruit. Now, there's another thing I've often thought before I even looked into this, before, I even knew what you just taught me. I wonder if maybe people who are not so honest would put labels on organic fruit to get a higher price, put labels on non-organic or pesticide-laden fruit to get a higher price and sell it as organic. It's possible.
Oh, who knows? They try all kinds of things to make money. That's the
Yeah,
whole
so who
food
do you
industry.
trust?
Sad enough, it's in the whole food industry that they try to make money. And that's why they do also put a lot of preservatives and additives and flavor enhancers in certain processed foods, because otherwise they taste like shit because they're made of very bad ingredients. So they put a lot of sugar in it, so you don't taste the bad taste. And some people say, "What has this to do with flat Earth?" Well, I thought about it because that question is asked a lot. If you eat healthy, your body stays healthy and your brain stays healthy. And if with a healthier brain, you can do more research. So it has to do something about flat Earth.
I think they want us to be sick because we won't learn things and find out where we live, how our world works. I mean, we'll just sit around and watch TV and believe whatever they tell us. I think they want us sick. I don't really know if they want us dead, though. Some people say that they're doing slow kill to us. I just think they want to kind of cripple us mentally and physically.
Seduce us all the time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was mentioning earlier that a painter was at my house and was painting a few things, including my front door. And I messaged him. He's just messaging me now, like, "Are you sure I didn't see your cat run out?" And I wrote, "I found him," with a bunch of hearts. And he's like, "Good, I'm happy for you." But the painter and I were outside when we were chatting, and he saw a plane going in the air, and you could see a trail behind it. And he said, "I wish I was on that plane going somewhere." And then I said, "Well, don't wish you were on that plane because maybe it's not going somewhere very nice." And then he said, "Well, it looks like he could do some skywriting." And then I looked and I saw the big trail, and it was very short, so I couldn't tell whether it was a chemtrail, if you believe in that, or a contrail, which would be the condensation water vapor. And he said, "What do you think that is?" Oh my gosh, it was the perfect moment for me to start talking to him about what that potentially could be. And then in the end, he said, "Whatever the government does, usually it's not good." It's pretty well said, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they're called government, aren't they? Govern after us. They're here just to.
I found also an interesting article about planes. I'm going to look it up because it was. They are some planes. There are toxic fumes, and the pilot was basically paid off to shut up about it. I think $30,000, not to tell people that some planes contain toxic fumes. So that's interesting, but I'm trying to for that thing.
Are you looking it up? I just asked Patricia. Yeah. You've been a very busy person lately, haven't you?
I have
conferences.
Been. So many other people have done way more than me, but I have done, like Mark Sargent, for example. He's been really, really busy. And DITRH, David Weiss, and many other people have been doing all sorts of things. But yeah, I went to the Flat Earth International Conference in Raleigh, North Carolina. It's one nonstop plane ride from where I live in Houston. Some other people had to come from much farther, including other countries, which was amazing that we had people showing up to that from many places. And it was really great. I think that many here have seen the videos and that are out on the conference. It was just really wonderful to meet that many people who are interested in the same thing I am, all in the same place. Some of the people I'd already met before in England, the 2 times I'd been there at get-togethers. I went to the Oxford meetup and the Leamington Spa meetup, where I missed you, Karen, because I got sick that day. I know. But we'll see each other again during the upcoming late April convention that's going on there. So I plan on attending, not as a speaker, just as a, I don't know, viewer, watcher. I don't know what you call audience member, I guess.
Yeah, cool. Patricia, you had a hangout last week, which you asked me to. Thank you very much. of potato
Yeah.
episode.
Thank you. Yeah. The
Bravo, Patricia. Bravo.
Thank you. It was really good. It was really fun. And I ended up having a bunch of different people come on and then leave, and new people come on and leave. So it was cool that I had a lot of nice people around. And then people messaged me later the next day. Oh, I didn't make it. I'm sorry. I just got this message now. So yeah. But
How many
I like doing
different
those
people?
sort of, 50th, 100th, 200th, and make it like a little bit special with a lot of people, because my shows are really about other people. They're not about me and my views, although I throw my 2 cents in there. So, yeah.
Yeah. You're basically, you're basically a platform for every truth channel to present themselves. You do great interviews. Because of your channel, I found the Sun and Moon group. I didn't know about them until you did that interview with Karen, and I thought, well, that's an interesting channel. Hey, that's a nice woman and a nice interview. Let's check that channel out. And then I found the Sun and Moon group, and now I'm doing all kinds of presentations here. So thank you for that, Patricia, for
And
presenting
thank you.
the channel to me. Yeah.
Thank you for making thumbnails for me that I've used as the picture as on the video that I've had a couple videos. That's really nice of you. Makes it a little bit more colorful and bright. So, but we've been receiving in the U.S. A lot of media, press, and things because of the conference in Raleigh. But was it yesterday or the day before yesterday? Mark Sargent was on Good Morning Britain. So
I
it was
know.
crazy. I mean, he was in the U.S. when he did it from his place right outside of Seattle, Washington, but he was basically on a UK morning or breakfast program or whatever, a chat show, whatever you guys call it. So, yeah, I watched it. I mean, it was a disaster, as all mainstream media seems to be, but it's good that Flat Earth got talked about. And I was talking about this on my show yesterday, how they just, before they have somebody on, it's like they sit around and conspire as to what they're going to do to make whoever they have on look bad. And that's what happened. Such weird things, like the astronaut, NASA astronaut Terry Virts was there. Why was he in England? I looked it up, and I didn't see any reason why this American astronaut would be in England. I mean, people go to England all the time, of course, but if you're a famous person who's on a book tour, which he is, you would have it listed going to be in England for a book tour, right? Well, I looked. He wasn't listed as being on a book tour in England. No, I'm not saying he doesn't have family members or friends there, or it was somehow involving the book tour, but he just seemed to be there when they had a flat earther on, coincidentally. I think he was brought in for that purpose. I think.
Yeah, it appears to be that way. Yeah.
Yeah. And then he was asked a question: what is your least favorite and most favorite thing about being on the ISS? I think least favorite, he could have said all the lying I've got to do till the day I die to everybody in my family and all the whole world. But he didn't say that. He said losing things. Like, because you're in the ISS, you'd lose something. Now, the ISS isn't that big.
It's because he's in all those wires. He's in all those wires and everything, isn't he? He can't find it because he's lost them in the wires.
Like, what do you lose? I mean, okay, if you're let's just say my house is the ISS. Traveling above the earth at a crazy speed. If I lost something in my house, I know one thing for sure. It's in my house. Meaning, when you're in the ISS, you're not going, to the movies or to the grocery store. You're in your house the whole time you're up there. So you don't really lose something. It's only temporarily misplaced inside the ISS. And if you've lost it in a zero-G environment, that thing's going to be floating. So it's not like my cat lost by being stuck in a drawer. I mean, on the ISS, unless something's tied down, it's floating. So you wouldn't lose things there, really. It just might float over to that corner. Or it's just stupid. I mean, we're talking about a thing that doesn't exist as if it really existed. But
Patricia,
that was just the worst answer. The worst answer ever.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I also said it was lost because of the air conditioning.
Oh, I didn't hear
Um,
that part.
maybe
So,
I remember it wrong, but
well, you know what? You listen more closely than me. I only halfway listened to it. I really only listened to
and he was talking about the air conditioning, and therefore it was lost or something, and I thought air conditioning and zero G gravity.
Well, maybe the air conditioning on this fake thing that doesn't exist, let's pretend it does, sucks air and
Yeah,
recirculates it
recirculates
and
it.
sucked his socks up into it or something. I
Maybe
don't.
it was.
You still wouldn't want a pair of socks though in the air conditioning, would you? It could really mess things up.
Plus, supposedly, they take their dirty clothes after wearing them and put them in some kind of container and shoot it into space so that it burns up in the atmosphere. So, what would it matter if you lost socks?
That's a waste of clothes.
It doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
Well, one of those videos, one of those women said they come up once a week with you know, like with the paper towels and things.
I saw them showing how that they spit their toothpaste out when one of the people said they swallow it, and then a totally different person said they spit it into a towel. Imagine the amount of towels. Let's say you brush your teeth. I brush my teeth a lot, but let's say you do it twice a day. So you've got a towel or rag or hand towel, whatever you call it, you spat into a few times. And then it must be so, I mean, it doesn't exist, but it would be so disgusting up there.
So they shoot all those dirty towels also into space, so the whole atmosphere is surrounded by dirty towels with NASA spit in it.
Oh, can I just say that Marlena's joined us? Hi, Marlena.
Hi.
Hello.
Hi, Patricia.
How are you?
Hi, Karen. I'm great.
Hey.
Hi, Judith. How is everyone?
Have you met Marlena before, Patricia?
Yes, one time somewhat formally anyway, although I knew who she was, on Poncho Pete's show.
Yeah.
About a week or so ago. We had a really nice conversation. And we've had some nice messaging conversations after.
Yes.
Yes. So,
absolutely.
and we've got to know each other more in the messaging conversations than we did.
Yes.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Nobody cutting us off when we're talking and stuff. That's fine.
Aren't you? The Marlena effect. You have an effect, Marlena.
Thank you, Karen. We have to treat each other with respect and kindness, you know?
Yeah, because we're all we've got, you know?
Absolutely.
There's a song, Marlene, I thought about last time we were talking. There's a song by the Wallflowers that says, 1, 2, 3, Marlene. You got your own song.
Oh, yeah. I love that song.
Yeah, the Wallflowers were big in the 90s. I don't even know if they still exist now. So.
Oh, I have no idea. I just know that a lot of people play that song when... Yeah.
I wanted to ask you that when we were on Poncho Pete's channel, but I just didn't, you know, the picture where you are, your icon picture, it looks like you're a ship's captain. You're on a boat. And what is that? What's the story?
I do lobster fishery in the summertime. Oh. And we also take people out whale watching and stuff. But yeah, I have a lobster company.
Oh.
So yeah, it's nice. You know, it's for our community. It raises money and stuff for, you know, the native people here. And we feed a lot of people. And we do it during powwow time when we have you know, whoever wants to come, and so that we'll be able to feed everybody. You know, people that eat it, that is.
Right.
We also do our community gardens too. So, you know, we feed the vegetarians too, Patricia.
Well, I mean, I used to eat meat and seafood. I used to love lobster. So I totally know what all those things taste like. And you know, I'm not going to talk bad about it. People do whatever they wish. So
that's why I said we do vegetables too. For say, if you came to a powwow, we feed you too.
That's cool.
So you have the Marlena song, and probably in your restaurant you have the Rock Lobster song.
Oh yeah,
Rock Lobster.
The B-52s. Yep.
Yeah.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I'm dating.
Yeah, so I do this more than I fly really now. Flying used to be full time. It's not now. You know.
Somebody was talking to me about you, and they were talking about being a pilot and how you'd been told you can't fly anymore.
No, not me. Lydia, this girl Lydia.
Yes, exactly.
That was on here with Karen. She's the one, but I was on here with her. Maybe they got us confused.
That's right. And I'm like,
but
well,
see,
no, that's not Marlena. And I was talking, I knew it would be Lydia Vandersloot.
right.
So,
Right.
exactly.
With me, no. The only reason why I'm not flying right now is I hurt my knee and I need to have surgery on it. So right now I'm laid up. That's the only reason why I'm not flying. But when I talk about stuff like the flat plane or whatever, people know that I'm native. They don't touch it. They don't touch it when we talk about our culture and stuff. They don't discriminate. They don't treat us, a certain way how they would normally treat somebody else. It's just the way it is, and it's been like that for as long as I can remember. As soon as they know that you're native, then they're like, whoa, okay.
That's interesting that you get respect with the thoughts of living on a flat plane due to being native, but if I were to say it, I'd be called nuts.
Absolutely.
Isn't that weird? I mean,
it is weird. Yep.
What's the reason that your average person would respect a native person's beliefs and not just someone else who isn't?
Well, a lot of the time it's because when we have our own creation stories, our traditions and everything, our oral history, is that our history goes back to 15,000 plus years. And when it's time for us to learn how to tell a story or tell our history, we have elders and medicine men and, our chief and everybody sitting there. And we have to reiterate and tell them the story. And we are not allowed to change the story. We're not straight. So this is, I think, the reason is because if you look at any native culture, all our stories are exactly the same. Regardless of where they are on this plane, everybody's creation stories and everything is pretty much identical. I think that's a lot of reason. It may be guilt too, though, Patricia, of how our families were treated.
I'm thinking there's some guilt in there, and then some sort of idea. Yeah, guilt, where people whose ancestors treated your family's ancestors incorrectly feel a sense of guilt, and then they feel that, well, they must be wise people just because they're native.
Right.
Which, I mean, there's wise people of all sorts. It's like some kind of reverse prejudice or something.
Oh, yeah, it definitely is. But, it's like now a lot of teachers and stuff will come here and learn certain ways, the way we do things or the way we teach, to bring it back to where they're from, because our ways seem to work and our stories never change with the, how we know we're on something, specific is the reason why I put out that really short video the other day of, one of our elders here went over to Europe and was teaching people about our creation story, and that little blurb in there where he talks about how Itsugumu means flat earth, pretty much, flat plane. The whole thing is for us to respect the earth and what have you, and that's the only reason why I really put it out, is because I want people to know you can't own this.
Yeah.
That was the whole reason, but it was just nice that it was happened to be our flat word, right?
It seems like every indigenous person or people group have a flat plane as being part of their history. And by saying every, I know I'm probably wrong. I mean, that's a pretty broad generalization.
The majority.
Yeah, exactly.
For sure, the majority. Because when we have powwows and everybody comes, and it doesn't matter what color you are, everybody's welcome. The word powwow is a gathering of people. We have story time, where storytellers, everyone will tell stories of, and I see this word story, to me, it's like, I don't really like that word, but it's the only way you can say it in English, right? But when we say that word in our language, it means more like a history, right? To tell a history. So when everybody tells theirs, they are almost every time exact. It's incredible. And, a big faux pas that people make is thinking that the Europeans came here first, but that's not so. The Vikings came here first. They were very kind people. They came, and I was just talking about this with somebody else who was doing some research on the Vikings. they came here first and taught us how to use metals, and taught, like, could we have evidence? This is proof. This is, and they didn't come here to take over anything. They came here, they learned. We did trading. They got fur or whatever for their travels along the sea. And then they taught us how to, make metals into tools, which would be tomahawks and stuff like that. So and people say, stuff with native people, oh, they're weapons. These weren't weapons. These were tools. And I have to say that, stress that. These were tools. So they came before all the other ones came.
I think people are very, have very little knowledge, and I'm including myself in that, about the Vikings and many other peoples. Because generally we think of the cartoon Hagar the Horrible.
Right.
I mean, violent. Well, you know what I mean.
Absolutely.
Like just somebody, a lot of killing, a lot of murdering, that sort of thing.
And they weren't even like that. They weren't even close to being that type. They would come, trade, like I said, do that. We were just talking. It's so funny. We were just talking about this. They didn't even wear those horns on their heads. That
I was picturing, because Hagar the Horrible, he's got this like hat with two horns on it. Yep.
Yeah, they didn't. Because when you have the pictograms and stuff that we have here, because the Native people are very artistic. Well, a lot of people are, but for our oral history alone, a lot of it was drawn. So we have our drawings of how people looked, and they weren't stick figures like people always try to make it look like. These are beautiful drawings done, paintings and stuff, and they look just like what they looked like. It wasn't, where they show you these stick figures, right? That's not like it. A lot of the art is over here, especially the ones that are on tablets and in the, places that are sacred.
Well, the Vikings date back to I guess the 8th century or something, like really a long time ago.
Absolutely.
And I don't know what got the myth of them being bloodthirsty and wearing the horned helmets and making weapons or making things out of metal to kill, not as tools. Who started that? Europeans?
More than likely, because you figure they would have met up somewhere along the way,
right? History is written by the winners. So
whoever feels like it,
or whoever feels like it, whoever gets the power, and to paint another person as bad, and we even see that happening, today in our society, modern society, even within flat Earth, people get in first and start painting another person or a group of people bad. And then others believe it and spread it when it may not be true at all.
Exactly.
So
it's just like our people. I know a lot of people said, oh, the Indians were, and still are like these dirty savages or whatever. Our people were very well, and still are very well kept. We always braided our hair. We always did certain things. We braided our hair for the mind, body, and spirit. You braid it together so that you'll be whole. And, you pray like that while you're doing your braiding in your hair. We were always very, very close and very kind of a relationship with the water where you had to immerse yourself in water. So, of course, you're going to be clean. You know what I mean? It's the stereotype, right, Patricia? People judging you on what this one or that one has experienced. Sorry about that.
No, it's no problem. That's life, right? Just like if one of my cats was in here meowing earlier. So, yeah. Meowing cats, playing kids, it's all good. It seems like, though, that the Vikings, from what I remember, they did destroy a lot of Christian artifacts. Right. But during that time, there was a lot of destruction. The time frame was very violent at the time.
Right.
Different than
what was their motivation? What got them that angry? If they, when they did do something like that, there had to be something that triggered people to get angry. Just like with anything, they don't just come. Someone just doesn't come and do that unless there's a trigger. You know what I mean? Maybe they don't tell us what the trigger was back then.
Yeah, that's true. We don't know too much about it. I know they were good.
I want to read something to you.
Oh, they protected France. I know that. I mean, during Constantinople time, same place.
Right.
Time frame.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yep. So this is something that I wanted to read to you guys. It says, the Indians are so naive and so free with their possessions that no one who had not witnessed them would believe it. When you ask for something they have, they never say no. To the contrary, they offer to share with anyone. they would make fine servants with 50 men who would subjugate them all and make them do whatever we want. Christopher Columbus.
Wow. Now, I've heard that Christopher Columbus could have even been a mythical figure. What do you think?
Oh, no, he wasn't. This is the thing, the story that they get it wrong in the States. When Christopher Columbus came over, he was lost and almost dying, and the native people saved him because he was lost. That's how it really happened. They seen him, they were struggling out in the sea. They helped them out, and then the story obviously changed. You know, but that's how it really happened.
How native people were kind and would give their possessions and of themselves, and then got stepped on and their land stolen, and also branded as being barbarians. When in reality, the people that were the bad people were the ones doing the branding. I mean, I don't mean physical branding, probably that too, but it's so weird how kindness is often repaid with people taking advantage of you. And I guess that's why people always encourage others to not show weakness, because then people who are bullies will take advantage of you. But I don't see weakness as being I don't see being
kindness as weakness.
Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. The French, like when the French came over, they had more of a conversation, and a lot of times when the Europeans started coming over, the way it's said to me by my grandfather, because my grandfather was still here at that time, he said that everyone thought that people were coming over just to live here and to learn, and just to live like neighbors. There was no inkling whatsoever that this stuff was going to happen. Sorry, it was my great grandfather, but there was no inkling whatsoever that this was supposed to happen. They just thought people were just coming over just because, just to live, not to take over. And that's why it's a joke when we hear people saying, oh, we just bought a couple acres. It's funny to me when I hear that. It really is hilarious because nobody can own our Mother Earth. Nobody.
Right. It's true, but they make you pay for it. I have a
That's
house,
right, they do.
and I don't have a lot of land. The house is on a very small lot, I guess. And, it's not that big of a house, and the land is quite small. And I take care of it as if I own it. But I understand that when I'm gone, who knows, this will just become many, many things. This house will be here for many years, and then it will be down, and then this land may go fallow, or who knows what will be here. But the land is really for all of us. They make us buy it, though, in order to live, or rent it in order to live. It's so weird how human beings, at least non-native human beings, that are natives who are living freely. I mean, we have to pay to live. We have to pay for food, which the earth creates freely and gives freely, and we have to pay to live on the land. It's just really.
I know, isn't that something? How does that happen for everybody?
Yeah.
How did it happen? It's a shame. It's such
part
a shame.
Of the control grid. It really is. It is so weird, and we learn at a very young age that's how it is. You see your parents paying bills. Sometimes you have parents that are worrying about rent or paying the mortgage. A goal for everybody is to buy a house and get this mortgage and pay it off like for 40 years. And it is really sad when maybe a better goal for people is to travel as if all the land is their land, to go explore, to live in different areas. But people do want to put down roots. I think that might be human nature, to have a home of some kind.
Oh, yeah, there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever. And I wonder if there's any kind of way that we could change this kind of thing for where it should be. I mean, just to go anywhere, we have to show a piece of paper, right?
Yeah. I remember.
Just to go anywhere.
I remember.
Just for us to go. Yeah, it's kind of.
It got worse. I mean, post 9/11, I remember, since I grew up in Michigan, you could go to Canada without a passport. And then post 9/11, you need a passport to go to Canada. And I'm sure in the UK and elsewhere, there's different rules now than there used to be before when it comes to traveling freely. But there are the people, those who know the real way the law works, who are able to travel freely on the land without having to show, even when pulled over by the police, a driver's license or, you know, a passport or something. You just have to know the right words to say. I don't know those right words, but you know what I'm talking about. Some call it the Freeman movement, and then there's other words for that too. Knowing your stuff, knowing the law, knowing that we are free and we do have rights that they say
Are you
don't
talking about
have.
libertarians, Pat?
No, but
Libertarians, no, right?
well, there's like the free man movement where people have spoke out about not getting driver's licenses, not being part of the system. And there's videos on YouTube of people being able to talk police officers out of writing them a ticket because they didn't have a driver's license and they didn't have their car registered. They didn't have insurance. But supposedly you technically by law don't need those things. But you have to know the right words to say when you get pulled over. Unless you're really good at it, you might get put in jail.
Well, you know what? I'm gonna have to be I'd like to learn how to be really well versed like that.
Well, they have the free man movement in Canada. People also call it sovereign citizens. Some people are for it, some people are against it. So yeah, there's videos on YouTube.
We've been born with a death certificate. I don't know if Marlene has looked into all that. It's a death certificate, and the whole thing is under maritime law. But when you find out judges and things, they're not under maritime law. It's waiting to get to court and then asking him to tell his oath, to speak his oath. And then you say, well, you can't try me because you're not from the maritime law part, you're from another part. And things like that. That's what Patricia's talking about. Just it's the words. And you're not supposed to say your name. You're not supposed to say yes.
Yeah. The legal name is fraud is another aspect of this sort of thing. And I don't know if this is all the free man on the land movement that we're speaking of. The legal name fraud is one thing, and maybe the freeman on the land movement is another thing. Maybe they are the same, or maybe they work separately. But I don't know enough about it so that if I were pulled over and didn't have a document on me, I would be a little bit worried and nervous as the officer was walking up to my car window because I wouldn't know the right words to say. And it is about being informed. But I do know some people have tried all of this stuff and they still get arrested anyway, eventually.
Yeah.
I mean, it is go along to get along. I think income tax is ridiculous. But to go along to get along, I pay my taxes so that I don't have some huge lawsuit against me someday that's out of my budget to be able to pay. So I just go along to get along. And I am part of the system that I am also here trying to help end. So it's crazy. All of us, I mean, we've got electricity on. We're part of a system that's making us pay for energy. I mean, that is ridiculous as well. If what we have learned about Tesla is indeed true. We should have free energy.
Unfortunately, we do still live in a globe life, don't we? It's all set up for a globe.
Yeah. I don't know what to do I don't know what to do other than what we are all doing, whatever your area of expertise is. Try to push forward and get a lot of people at least to wake up and look at some of these things. You know, Freeman or, you know, any of these sorts of things aren't my areas of expertise, but I've had people on my show who do know a lot about it. Now, I know Isa Mahalski of Flat Earth Court doesn't consider himself a freeman or part of the freeman movement, but he does know a lot about the law and about ways in which to conduct yourself and ways to live your life so that you can be as free as possible from the system. So that's a channel worth checking out. And I know there's other people too. He's just a person I know on a little bit more personal level.
I'm also glad that Marlena's talked today about the fact that slowly respect is coming back, which it should have been there in the first place with the native people.
Yeah.
But I'm glad that that's slowly overturning itself, and we're all in awe of them because they've known the truth all along.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know that Nick of the channel Phuket Word. I interviewed him a long time ago. He's really great, great information, really easy to understand experiments on his channel. That's Phuket Word, WORD. Anyway, I interviewed him quite a long time ago. And Nick told me in the interview that his wife, who is Thai, he lives in Thailand, when he was discovering flat Earth and talking out loud about it to her, she just said, "That's what, you know, my people," and we've always known it was a plane, it was flat, which is mind blowing. It's just known by some peoples, and by the rest of us, we got fooled by the ball.
Yes, they fool us with all kinds of things, just like I'm showing now. Maybe everybody can see this. The true American peacetime flag and the U.S. military flag.
Oh my God.
A lot of people don't know this. This flag only flew in America during the 3 years America was not in war. That is the one on the left. The one on the right is the U.S. military flag. If you fly this flag in the front of your home, you are signifying your home is a military installation. You are allowing occupation.
I didn't know that. And my neighbor has the U.S. military flag. My neighbor to my left, nice guy, he's got it flying in front of his house. And it always bothers me because I see it as a symbol of a dominator, the United States. And I know I'm an American, but I still see it as a negative symbol. And I kind of cringe inside when I see him with it.
Maybe next time you should point him out that he's flying in the military flag.
That'll make for a great neighborly relationship.
Well, just to make him aware,
I am going to tell him because
when you are signifying it at your home as a military installation, you are allowing occupation by the military. So and a lot of people don't know that. Also, that golden fringe around that flag. It is basically.
Doesn't the flag on the right have a border around it as well?
Sometimes the one on the right had the golden fringe around it. And I did some research about it. And if it has a golden fringe around it, it is because of you are entering a building of where the American law is,
that's
there.
I've seen
and if you go in, it's basically all on all the buildings that are where you have to marry, where you have to get your driver's license, and those kinds of buildings. And also the law building is like that. And if you go in there, you are under the flag of that golden fringe, and you're allowing yourself to be treated in the law that is in that building at that moment. So the American law at that moment in that building.
Most people don't know about, I didn't obviously, but most people don't know about the things like the finer points, like the fringe. I've seen those flags with the golden fringe, as you say, outside of certain buildings. I didn't know what it denotes, but all of these signs and symbols, people don't know.
Yeah, the golden fringe has to do with the law. You can research it, type in golden fringe around the American flag, and you will see it pop up. That is that they do it about it's because of the law, that you're entering a building of law and you have to obey that law of that building, because you know that flag is portraying that you must be aware that you are entering a building of law.
People don't know that. So how are they supposed to know that that's what it means? It's like these Masonic hand symbols and stuff. People don't know that some of the things that we do mean something else. So you kind of can't blame them for not knowing.
Well, in the law, it also states that every citizen has to be aware of the law and know what the law is about. True. So if you don't know, they say, well, you are supposed to know it. So sorry, you're now under arrest. Sorry.
Ignorance of the law is no excuse. I have heard that before. So
every citizen, even in Germany.
Can I just say that Josh has joined us? Hi, Josh.
Hey, everyone.
Flat Earth Uber.
How's it going, Karen?
Hey, Josh.
Hi.
It's going really
Hi,
good.
Josh.
Thank you.
Hey, what's up, Marlena?
Patricia's here with us. And an artist is going through the flag at the moment.
Yeah.
Yes.
Basically,
I truly enjoy it.
I missed something that you and Patricia were just talking about. What does the fringe mean? Because on our stuff. Oh, hang on. I'm so sorry. He only does that when I turn the mic on, by the way.
Yeah.
Fringe mean?
The golden fringe means basically you are entering a building of law. And the law is you have to obey the law, and also you have to. They speak in legalese in those buildings with the golden fringe. So if you enter that building, you are supposed to know legalese. So if you say certain things and you agree upon certain things that you don't know, you are agreeing with things you don't know. Because most of the people don't know the law, and that's the problem. So if you enter all those buildings where you get your driver's license, have the golden fringe, where you get married, have the golden fringe, and there's a reason for that, because they are doing things that are stated in the law.
Would that make it an admiralty law flag, since we were talking about admiralty law before? The gold fringe flags?
I don't know for sure.
You know, the thing is what about other countries? You see how the peacetime flag looks a certain way and the military flag looks like the flag you think of when you think of an American flag? Isn't that sad? When you see an American flag, it's always the military flag. But most people don't, including me until today, know that. So we're always at war. And everyone always thinks that about America anyway, except for Americans who think we're the most peaceful country. Crazy. But
well, you know, my mother was part of the longest walk, and one of the things they did was we did a longest walk through American Indian movement and American Indians for Development. My mother was one of the co-founders of that in the United States, and there was a walk. And so when she came out, a whole bunch of them, like Muhammad Ali, Buffy St. Marie, you know, a bunch of the bigwigs came out, and this is, you know, supporting, trying to change things, which it didn't work, but it was a big thing at that time. When Buffy St. Marie came out onto the stage, she had the flag behind her upside down.
Very interesting.
You know, yeah, which means,
Patricia,
it means being in distress, right?
If it's upside down, yes. If the flag's upside down, that's distress.
Now, is that every country, or do other countries have this military and peacetime flag situation? Artists, do you know? Or
Not every country. No, not every country.
Oh.
It's a bit of a shock. It's been going on since the Civil War, really. It's never been changed.
Yeah, that was the last time that it was taken, that the peacetime flag was taken down and the wartime flag was put up, was before the Civil War.
I never knew about any of this.
Yeah.
Most people, if polled, would say that America's not at war. And no one's really at war right now, except for some third world countries. That's what most Americans would say.
Not being horrible though, Patricia, all you've got to do is look around the world and see where all the bases are.
Yes, exactly.
You would have said that Iran or Iraq or the Middle East have got hundreds of bases all looking at us.
They still also.
But when you actually look,
They still have base in Germany.
Everywhere. Artists, their bases everywhere, all around the world with Americans.
So is this okay? I see. I'm not real sure about this because, you know, it's actually building off of what Patricia just said. So when people are about to take over a country, all they do is stick a flag in the ground, right? Basically, and say it's mine, right?
Kind of like what a dog does to a tree.
Yeah, exactly.
Kind of what the Americans tried to say what they did with the moon.
Ew,
Stuck a flag in it, now it's ours.
Oh yeah.
Yes, exactly. Funny. I claim this.
Except they never went there. They never made it to the moon. Yeah, it's a bit of a shock, isn't it, to find out? So this flat Earth thing, it's just not even one thing. It's just everything.
Do you think America is fighting any wars now other than like the undisclosed or undeclared wars? I'm not talking about things like war on poverty, war on drugs, war on terrorism. I mean actual bullets and guns. We're probably fighting a bunch of wars that aren't officially stated.
You mean like Air America style?
We've probably been at war at some point, like you said, except for all but 3 years. But I bet even during those 3 years, we were killing somebody. Or it's just, I mean, I don't really like when people say they're proud to be a fill in the blank, especially an American, because you didn't really do anything to get born an American or whatever nationality that you are. You can be proud of what you do and what the people that are the same as you or live
I'm
where
with you.
do.
Yep.
But by the virtue of birth, unless there's something we don't know about birth where we've decided who we are and came into these bodies, a lot of people believe that. But with that pushed aside because it's non-provable, being proud because you're a blah, blah, blah. I'm proud to be a woman, for example. I just think that's really idiotic. Why?
Actually help the skin color you were born, where you were born, nothing.
No.
You can't help where you're born.
True. And you can't help your...
But you can help how you treat people.
Yeah, exactly.
You can
Yeah, the way you treat people.
you can help. If you can't go out and help people and do something to help humanity in some way or another, then to me you're useless.
Yeah.
If you can't, only because I'm so sorry, my English sucks some days, and some days I'm really good.
It's the same with me sometimes.
I'm trying.
Sometimes my English
Today is a hard day.
For me too.
I don't know how many times. Yeah, I don't know how many times I was asking people today what certain words were.
I should use that as an excuse. English is the only language I speak, but I should just say when I'm at a loss for words, it's my English is not that good.
But for me, it isn't. I'm trying to. I think of our Micmac word, and I'm trying to make it into English, and it just doesn't sound right. It sounds kind of. But yeah, I think everybody's.
That's the joy of having two languages, Marlena. You're in English and your native language.
Yeah,
the way it goes, I suppose.
I've talked three. I've the Netherlands language, the German language, and also the English language. Sometimes
English is so backwards, right? Right?
Yeah,
it's so backwards.
Yeah, the time and place of a certain word is different.
Yeah.
Also, I found something about the flag. Yeah. It's on the side. I don't know if it's true. And the flag's the golden fringe. The flag has displayed the state courts and courts of the United States have a gold yellow fringes. That is a warning that you are entering a foreign enclave, the same as if you are stepping into a foreign embassy. And you will be under the jurisdiction of that flag. So I hope that explains. There's a lot of other text there, but everybody can pause it and read it if they want to later on.
I was thinking about an American flag I've seen on a truck or car painted backwards. And I wonder if that wouldn't make sense. There would be a distress signal on the back of a truck. Maybe they paint it that way so you can see it in a rearview mirror, but that still makes no sense.
Well, also on the space shuttle, you have also the flag normally. On the other side is also mirrored. And they say sometimes indeed that it was... They wanted to be the other side of the flag. That is their...
that doesn't
that's
sound...
how they explained it, but it's strange.
No, that sounds like a lie to cover up some real reason. Or am I being too much of a conspiracy buff?
Yeah, it's strange because on the space shuttle I saw that also that I was watching, wait a second, on the other side it's backwards. Yeah.
Don't you think, though, that if the flag is a war flag, why doesn't everybody know that? Why has it only come out recently? It's like over 100, 200 years we've had a war flag, and yet nobody knows.
Well, probably it was just like the flat Earth. Sometimes it goes up, and a lot of people know it, and then it goes down because they want to hide it. So sometimes it pops up like it now pops up, and people know it. But a lot of times people won't research it further or something. Other topics are there, and that topic of the flag is not that important anymore, and it goes to the background, and they make sure it goes to the background. That's what they try to do. Or they give an explanation. Oh, it's not that bad. It's all right. Don't worry and everything. Most of the people think, oh, we shouldn't worry. It's all right. Count on it often of the times that you don't do your research.
Yes.
That's what they count on always.
It's very true. And my parents were they cared very much about how they raised their children and their morals and all of that, but they didn't research fluoride. because no one thought to do it then. We had fluoridated toothpaste, and we also were given, as young children, my sister and brother and I, vitamins that had fluoride in them. So
No.
we had like the triple level fluoride.
Whoa.
And I remember, because the vitamins were tasty and they were candy colored, and I was maybe 8, 7, I would go, when I see them out, you know, on the kitchen table, open up the jar and just chew a few others for fun because they were tasty. I've been fluoridated, you know, around the world and back again. But
And you're still a smart woman. So.
Well, I think that what happened was, as I got older, I somehow cleared that from my body without actually trying, through my diet and through distilled water, not purposely trying to clear that out of my body, but it was an accidental side benefit, or maybe not. Maybe fluoride just has a course that it runs through your body, that by just not consuming it, it would go away. Some people feel it's in your calcifying your pineal gland. I don't have any proof of that. I could probably look it up right now. I'm not sure whether or not it's true, but I act
It
as
is
if
true,
those
Patricia.
things. Yeah, I act as
I
if
will
those
introduce you
things are
to
true.
somebody. Patricia, I can introduce you to somebody that's his job
Ooh.
to do the MRIs, and he does see. He said 2 out of 10 people, theirs are not calcified, but you could see it on the MRIs. He said.
Oh my gosh, how interesting.
Yeah, it is. It's really cool too, because then it proves everything that we've always been talking about. You know what I mean? Like how we use it in different energy ways, you know, spiritual ways, if you want to call it spiritual in that sense, you know, doing these beautiful things like the lucid dreaming, and, you know, that's all from the pineal gland. And when it's cut open, it has the same properties and everything as your eyeball. So that means something. You know, our men, when they went out to hunt and do all that stuff, they used to wear a bandana to cover their third eye so that they wouldn't give out the signal to, or say if they were going into a combat situation, they would cover them, and that's what you see them wearing their bandanas, to cover that third eye.
Well, regular,
You know.
Western science says the pineal is it produces melatonin to regulate your sleeping patterns, and that's pretty much all it does. That's what they say it is.
Of course, they say that, but it also has the DMT in it, right? Your own DMT is in there, which, you know, is made through plants, a combination of plants. You know, we have it for a reason, and we need it. And it also is released during the times of when someone passes away. There's a reason, I think, for that kind of thing. You know, I'm sorry. Did I go off track with you guys?
No, you didn't. I just looked
got
up
really excited.
While
I
you,
just got really excited.
While you,
It's all important.
While you were speaking, I just looked it up, and it said that all vertebrates, nearly all vertebrate species, have a pineal gland. I'm reading this off Wikipedia. I just looked it up.
Nice.
Except for one fish, that there may be, it's called the hagfish, and it says that there may be a pineal gland equivalent structure in its dorsal fin. So it seems like all of these creatures have one. That's pretty interesting.
Well, yeah, well, we were all able to communicate at one time. You know, we've always considered the animals our brothers and sisters.
I do.
When we tell our stories, exactly. When we tell our stories or tell how to do things, it is, we call, you know, whatever, doesn't matter what it is, our brothers and sisters. We were able to communicate. We still can. You know, you can communicate with your animal. You know, your animal knows when you're sad.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
you know, vice versa with your animal. Look at the animals that are for medical reasons. The ones that can tell if a person's just about to have a seizure or something happen. You know, there's. I think it's connected because of the pineal gland.
Yes, I think so. There's a cat that can, or I think the cat's dead now, but that could lived in a retirement community or something along those lines, or a hospital for older people, and would go sleep on the bed of the person who was going to be dying next. And the theory was that the cat could smell death or sense death, but I think it's on a deeper level, like maybe the pineal gland. Now that I know that cats have them, very interesting. Huh.
Oh.
Somebody dropped off. Who's not here anymore?
Oh, Artist has. Oh, he'll be back on in a minute. Artist has dropped off.
And someone else,
And John.
Josh, Uber Flat Earth dropped as well.
Yeah. He's working though. He might have just or someone's rung him. Sometimes
Oh,
I don't notice if you're on a hangout and someone rings you on your phone,
yes.
the phone call takes over the hangout and you lose.
Same as Skype as well. I'll be talking in a group Skype when we're talking with each other, and then my phone will ring and it goes. So, but Josh drives an Uber, and I wonder if he, like other, like Mr. Flat Taxi, Rainbow Chemtrails, he has a couple other YouTube names out of the UK. He's talked to people about Flat Earth a few times while he's been driving
I love
around.
it. Yeah,
I wonder
love
if
it.
Josh has done it too.
Yes, he does. If you go on his channel.
No, I think I
Patricia?
know that. I do know that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, I've got a calcified pineal gland.
Yeah.
I do. Sometimes my memory.
He does. He does. And
I'm
also
hoping
there's
that-
another man, Dave. He does it too. He does drive, and his are awesome. His videos, because he has people asking him questions. Him and Josh's approaches are two different. Josh actually goes out and says, I am a flat earther kind of deal, where Dave more like baits somebody in to see what they know and then fills them with knowledge,
Let's see. I think I probably bait as well. Baiting somebody sounds horrible though, but I feel them out. Maybe that sounds better. Find out about the moon landing or what they think about chemtrails or whatever, and then you can see
Exactly.
how open. I mean, I was talking to a guy about a week ago, and what he said when I mentioned chemtrails is, what are they? And I kind of knew there would be so much work I'd have to do to get him to flat Earth if he didn't ever know what chemtrails were. And it might not be worth the amount of time that I was able to allot to that cause at the moment. So, but it's no indication, because a lot of people that are flat earthers don't believe chemtrails are toxic or dangerous. Like within flat earth, people say things like, well, there's no atheists on flat earth. I've heard of a few. So I think within flat earth, there's probably people who believe 9/11 was done by Arabic men with little box cutting knives. There's probably a few.
Patricia, did you see we had Pilot LX on last Friday? And there was so much of what he said, which was absolutely brilliant. But as a pilot, he doesn't believe in chemtrails.
What does he say that is?
What? He says they're comtrails.
Right. So he feels that different atmospheric conditions will cause the water vapor to condense behind the planes in different fashions based on the weather.
And then turn into clouds.
But I know they're chemtrails. I know the difference between a chemtrail and a contrail. I've been up flying where I seen the glitter, and it looks like glitter, the pretty glitter. It looks like that when you're up that high. Also, if this is a good indication of flat plane, you guys, is that when a plane is flying, even the chemtrail ones, the trail itself would arc, and they don't. They go straight.
Wow.
But they would arc, if you think about it.
It sounded like somebody was singing opera there for a moment. Just wanted to point that out.
It's
sorry, it was literally... That was opera.
Well, he's deaf, right? I teach him sign language.
Oh, cool. Healthy love.
He always just sound like he's going, hey, hey.
Yes. Yeah, but he's starting to learn a lot of words, so he's quite loud. But he's excited about it, right?
That's good.
It's funny.
You should be.
And he was so quiet all up until I pressed to join here.
Josh is back.
Hi,
Hey,
Josh.
Josh.
Josh, you could talk to Patricia about your experiences driving.
Just to say one thing, that we had Iron Realm Media on the other day, and they've asked for Josh's email because they want to interview him on their radio show.
Ooh.
Josh, that's why. But I want your email address, Josh.
It's pretty easy. uberflatearth@gmail.
Hang on. uberflatearth@gmail.com.
Yeah.
Okay, I shall pass it over to them. So that's cool, isn't it?
Yes. Awesome. Cool. Thank you. I like talking to Ty, and I like talking to Josh from Iron Realm. They're cool guys.
Yeah, and also Adam, he's really nice as well. They're all lovely. Iron Man Media.
What was the most exciting ride that you had, Josh, when you were talking to people?
Personally, the most exciting ride would have been, I would say, when I picked up the shortstop for the Angels.
Oh, wow.
That was kind of cool, just because of me playing baseball when I was younger and in college and stuff. So that was kind of cool. But scientifically, you know what? I think the video I had up with the engineer, which YouTube took down, by the way. I don't know why.
Oh,
Weird.
Uh,
Did it tell you why?
well, okay. The first email, it said that I needed to blur out somebody's face because there was a
Oh.
privacy issue, and I was like, well, I sent them an email back saying, well, that doesn't make any sense really, because my videos are all audio clips with slides. So whose face am I supposed to blur out?
Yeah, they just made their computer made a mistake, and in one of the slides, maybe there was a face or it wasn't the person you were interviewing. Weird stuff happens like that all the time. I think it was Martin Liedtke who was outdoors in the back of his house in Wales talking about flat earth on a live hangout, and somebody next door played a song on the radio and he got struck for it.
That happened to me too.
Yeah, weird stuff that has nothing to do with you or anything that you're doing.
Said that as well.
I recently did an audio only interview with a porn magazine called Hustler in America, but it was audio
congratulations,
only.
by the way. That was a good interview, Patricia.
Thanks. I agreed to do it.
I just watched it yesterday.
That we need to bring flat earth truth to everybody. It doesn't, because it's porn and I'm not interested in porn, doesn't mean I should overlook. And we didn't talk about, there was nothing sexual about the interview. And, you know, it was also without any cameras as well, just the guy talking to me, and it was recorded. Anyway, I got a thing from YouTube saying that there was some kind of problem with it, and I'm like, why? And then I'm like, oh yeah, the word hustler isn't in the title. So I wrote to YouTube and to get their ban lifted on it. And I think they immediately took it away. But it's the same thing that happened to you, Josh. Blurring a face, it was audio only. I mean, there was no sexual content in my Hustler interview except just the word hustler. So it's like bots or some computer algorithm that looks at these things and makes all the time faulty decisions.
It sure is, because I was on Flat Earth.
I'm sorry. I was just saying I never response back, and then they next thing I know, my video was gone, and I was like, oh wow, okay. So that's how this works.
Yeah, that's not good. What were you saying, Marlena? What happened with your situation?
And one of the Flat Earth people, his name is Turquoise Dragon. I think you know him, Patricia.
He's cool.
Flat Earth concert, and I was on it, and I played guitar, and I played a few 7 songs. 5 of my songs got flagged.
Oh my!
Copyright flag.
So the whatever the algorithm of the bot thought that you were actually the artist playing a professional song.
Exactly.
You must be pretty good.
Happened to me again on one of my streams where I had to prove it to them by playing in front of my camera, showing them that it's me playing. To prove that it's ridiculous now. And then I had the same problem where I barely hear it playing in the little girls' rooms that they live here, but you could, I swear, barely hear it. I couldn't even hear it until they pointed it out. This is a copyright or whatever.
Unbelievable.
But I fought that too. I just took the video down, music over it, and put it back up.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yesterday, I did a video, the Secret Hangout show with Mark Sargent, and I had Carly Sunshine on. And then she came on to talk about an interview she did with Rooster Magazine where the guy totally misquoted her and botched the whole interview up. Not even misquoted, actually made her wrote that she said things she didn't say at all, not even a misquote. And then I had Karen B on, her channel is Karen B, and she was, I wanted to get an overview of how gyroscopes kind of, basically prove flat earth, how they work on a plane. And she was kind of using a globe and a fidget spinner to show, your basic 101 thing. And I've lost my train of thought. That rarely happens. Must be the chemtrails.
I love Karen. She's a good friend of mine too.
Oh,
yeah. Well, your thing was, yes.
I just
There you go.
remember
Almost helped you.
right behind her as she's holding up like a blow up globe and using the fidget spinner and putting it over the globe. I saw a guy walk behind her. Must be a roommate, friend, brother, boyfriend. I have no idea. But he didn't have a shirt on. And it was very dark behind her. And I wasn't sure if he was naked. And immediately my heart was like, oh my God, because there's a guy behind her. What if he's naked? Somebody's going to flag my video. It turned out he was wearing shorts and, you know, he knew he was there and there's no privacy issue. But there was a brief moment in time like, I'm going to have this video taken down for no reason whatsoever. But
they're so hard on people now. I mean, like not just Karen here, this Karen getting, you know, where she can't live stream for that 90 days.
Yeah.
I was somebody that said they took Crow's channel right down. Like they took it right down.
Yes. He does have that pay site, and I subscribe to that pay site that he's Crow 777. But I don't know, you know, he gets copyright strikes and that's what happens. And whether or not that they're trying to hold back the truth or they were legit copyright strikes. There's probably like one legit one where maybe a song was used. I'm just guessing here, by the way. And then the others were just people reporting things that were completely wrong. And then he gets his channel taken away from him. I had this thing here. This is called the Eldon Home Kit blood test. And I did a video in which part of the video was me taking this tiny little needle thing and poking my finger and then taking the blood test to see my blood type.
Blood over intent, Pat.
Yeah, but it wasn't blood over intent at all.
I know. I'm just saying how people are.
Yeah. If people want to do blood over intent, you know, feel free. It's your life, whatever. But mine was a blood test. And I got comments from, I'll tell you that in a moment. I got comments about it from YouTube, not comments. I got a thing on YouTube that said no monetization because this content violates our policy, something about the policy of what? And the blood is the only thing. As if, and then some other people were saying that I was doing blood rituals and bloodletting videos. Oh, what was it?
Wow. People are so mean.
Am I RH negative? The first, I bought 2 tests because on Amazon it sold me 2 tests. I did one, it said RH negative. And the other one I did, which I kind of botched on my show because I was trying to talk and do the blood test at the same time. And you know, the old walk and chew gum at the same time. It didn't work out. The blood was dried and then I had to re-stab myself. And it was just hard to do it at the same time as doing a show with Mark Sargent. So I got this, so one said RH negative. The other was just smeary and was just off. So I bought the other blood test and I still haven't done it yet.
Nice. I'm RH negative.
I don't think I am,
so you know.
For some reason. Even if people say, oh, you've got light eyes, green eyes, red hair. Even,
doesn't matter.
Yeah, and you should be RH negative. But I mean, I've often said what I am probably is whatever the most average blood type.
It doesn't even matter, right? At the end of the day, I just find it's interesting that a lot of the people that I've talked to, and stuff, a lot of them, the majority of them are RH negative.
It is true. There are a lot, and I am interested in the topic most definitely. I don't like when people, because I don't know if I'm RH negative or whatever. I don't like when people take the idea that their blood type is RH negative and make it into a thing that makes them one of these special people. You know what I mean?
I am a special person,
because
Patricia.
of my blood type.
I'm just kidding.
Well, you know what I'm saying. You've heard
with
people say that. And it's,
yes, I have.
It's like how you can't really be proud of your blood type because you didn't do anything to achieve your blood type.
You know what? Exactly. The funniest thing that I've heard is RH negative people are fallen angels. Have you heard that one?
Oh, wow.
Because there's yeah.
I've heard as well.
Sorry, I had to tell you.
So many things about it that there's some people are monkeys, some people are, it's just, it's something that is used for interesting information and maybe truth, but also some people twist it into making themselves feel better or to make other people bad. Yeah. So
the other reason why I know mine is because of my humanitarian services, like when I went to Haiti, for instance. So I know if I could have donated blood because I went through doing medical and helping people medically. And other places too. Yeah. So I had to know my blood type. That's the only reason. I was trying to think, I wonder if these people are shitting me. pardon my language, are shitting me that they actually do know it, or if they're just jumping on the bandwagon of saying they're RH negative.
I think
Because
there are people that have jumped on the RH negative
Yeah.
bandwagon in order to, just like there's people who've said, oh, I've been a flat earther since 2014. And I think, really? So, I mean, I mean, maybe you were, but yeah, and that's a horrible thing
Yeah.
to say, because, you know, the way
No,
it is
I'm with
with
you.
modern society, if there's no video of it or no picture of it, it never happened, which isn't necessarily true at all. Because if you grew up like I did in the 60s, we had, you know, the cameras, the Kodak Instamatic cameras in the 70s and all those cameras. And
Wasn't there a lot of flat earthers though back then, Pat? Because I know I've seen a lot of videos and old pictures, mind you, of like during Woodstock and stuff. Because, you know, and there's a lot of pictures that my mom had, and on a lot of things there was stuff that looked like it was flat earth to me.
maybe there's a movie that came out in the 70s. It's called The Party, and it had either a horse or an elephant with the earth is flat painted on it, and in the movie, but that was just to show a kind of wild, crazy, glamorous / drug Hollywood party in the DVD. But that was created by Hollywood, the movie itself. So it's saying the earth is flat. It could have just been something funny, like the end is nigh kind of statement, just to put in a movie to be quirky. I don't know if there was flat earthers in Woodstock times. I'm sure there's always been flat earthers, but the modern day flat earth, you know, resurrection that we all are a part of, I do see it as dating to 2015, although there's a few people who say they were before that. But so many people
that's why I
have
asked
said
you.
they were before that.
Well, can
I
I
asked you because I've been doing a
say
little.
something? There was a Flat Earth magazine in the 70s.
There was
That's interesting.
Charles Johnson.
What was it called?
Flat Earth magazine, basically. It was from Charles Johnson. He also
Wow.
he had not one issue, a couple of issues, from basically 1977 till 1985. And then his research facility burned down to the ground, or a lot of people say they burned his research facility down to the ground to shut him down.
That's very interesting.
Right. But wasn't it in here that we seen that somebody had showed that newspaper article where it was against the law to even talk about the Earth being a globe or something?
Yeah, I've shown that before.
Yeah.
And I also showed that magazine.
Right.
In the 60s.
Yeah, the Flat Earth Society was formed in the 60s, I think, with Daniel Shelton or something. Shenton, excuse me, is his name. So, yeah, I mean, it's been around a while, but to the extent where we have it today, because we've got the internet, it's definitely wildfire. And today, people that are flat earthers generally are connecting on social media, not just YouTube, but elsewhere with blogs and everything. So, but just like the RH negative thing, I do think that there's this pile-on of people who will claim, I was a flat earther since fill in the blank.
Well, this is why I ask people, right? I'm watching. It's like watching them fold in front of my eyes. It is. You know, this is why I asked you when you woke up, and I say wake up because it is awakening. It is like you were sleeping, thinking something, and then you woke up from that dream, and now you're in the real place. Yeah. This is what basically. I've seen people where I know for sure they told me they woke up this year, and now their story has changed where
yes,
they woke up way before, something I'm really interested in.
It's human nature.
And I'm also interested in the groups. Right.
It's a bad aspect of human nature where people want to say they're part of something. They want to belong to the point where they will lie and not even really understand that they're lying, that they're RH negative, or they were a flat earther since 2012 or something.
Well, I found the magazine. It's basically a PDF. I have it also on my site, on my YouTube channel. I have a video talking about how you can research things like this on certain archive sites. So if you look at that video,
Nice.
because otherwise I have to explain all of it, and it takes far too long. And my English is not that good, so I probably make mistakes. But if you go to my YouTube channel, you can look at the video that explains how I research things on archive sites. And this is basically the Flat Earth News, and it was from 1976 even, the first edition. And then he talks about all kinds of flat Earth things, and also about perspective and everything like that. And he goes a little bit
Wow.
smaller here, perspective. Basically, he's talking about a lot of things people now in the flat Earth community
Right.
are talking about. Here, perspective, like a lot of people are talking about, and also he explains other things and why the sun here perspective and disappearance at ships at the sea, and he had old Navy navigation devices, so therefore he could do those experiments with those old Navy devices, where you use also in the Navy to look at far distances. That he
This
used.
is cool. You know, Martin Liedtke would love all this.
Yeah, and basically on my YouTube channel, I have all the. If you go to that video in the description under it, I have all the links to all those sites I used. So that's handy. You can click on them and you can see where those sites are. And this is basically the Flat Earth News, and here this is from 1978. So, and he researched all kinds of things related to the Flat Earth. And what is surprising to me, a lot of things people are just talking about.
Yeah, like that. Exactly.
Like that one. And the perspective and other things, and also things he talks about the curvature you can measure with certain flags and everything.
So you're right. It was happening in the 70s. I mean, we know about Samuel Rowbotham and Lady Blount. 1800s, we think about flat Earth. And then, like I said, the Flat Earth Society was like, I think it was the late 50s or early 60s when it was formed. We think of it in that frame, but we think it kind of faded. And then, you know, boom, here we are. But really, there was this happening in the 70s too. Well, we've got to make sure this doesn't fade.
Well, what I always do with everything I research and I found an interesting site, and always make a PDF of it, a backup. And my backup is basically a loose hard drive, so if it's down, you never know, I can click it off and then I still have all the documents.
Wow.
I make sure that it's not gone, because just like I showed before with those apples and those numbers, that site is actually gone. But because I saved it on a PDF file, it's still there. You can save the whole internet site on a PDF file.
It's like Crow 777 has this hashtag modern day book burning. It's kind of what's happening. Things are being deleted.
Yeah, of course.
I'm going to go put my air conditioner on because all of a sudden these bright lights I have right here are making me really hot.
Oh, okay.
So, but I can still hear you. So.
Oh, that's all right. That's just interesting that I encourage everybody always to do research. And also I stumbled on something else till Patricia gets back. Showed it to Marlena already. And this is from a site. I was the research and listened to the news. I only listened to the news in the morning. They were talking about this KLM pilot science control promising not to speak about toxic fumes on planes. And it's not one plane, it's a lot of planes have this problem. And this is from November the 8th, so it is a recent story. And basically, the former KLM pilot Willem Geldorf is forbidden to talk about toxic fumes aboard planes and the health problems related to it. According to the KLM contracts he signed when he left the airplane with Zembla, he has in its possession. Zembla is a news program in the Netherlands, should be violated his contract. The pilot will have to repay 300,000 euros severance pay to the Dutch airline. And also that you can get an air toxic syndrome from it, and it makes you act like you're drunk. So maybe you remember way back they were talking about those drunken pilots, or they looked like they were drunk, but you get the same type of reaction if you inhale those toxic fumes. So that was interesting news.
That is interesting.
Yeah.
Because there's many times where I'd be at the airport and or be up there for quite a while and feel that way. But I know, the thinness of the air and stuff at my altitude, whatever, does play a factor. But it does seem like during those times I was the most tired and feeling woozy and stuff, But then when you're aware of something, then that might play a factor into it too, when you know something. Like, even though LX believes that he thinks his see, a contrail is just water vapor, basically. That goes away. And that's a few of my videos I did show the difference, These go away. This happens when you're de-icing your airplane, when you're up there. This is so the ice doesn't build up on your engines and stuff. It's, if it does, then you're out. Your engine's going to, cut out, whatever. So a chemtrail lasts for a long time. It turns into clouds and does all this other random stuff. Like now with the high altitude ones, they all look like big feathers. They have this one really long streak in the middle, and they look like feathers. They don't just look like one little trail. The lower ones look like the little trail, and then they have the little curly thing that goes below it, right? But now with the high altitude spraying they've been doing, you totally see the definitive line in the middle. And they don't need as many planes to do it now. They only need like 2-3 planes will fill the whole sky.
Yeah, indeed. Oh, Patricia's back.
I'm back.
Welcome back.
I was listening to you. I heated up some coffee.
Okay.
As I complained about being too hot, I put the air conditioner on and then decided to have coffee. That makes no sense.
Whatever makes you happy. That's it.
Well,
That's
I was
right.
so happy when I saw my cat, Rory. I mean, the one I was all panicked about at the very beginning of this hangout. Well, the beginning of when I showed up. Just seeing him there, I'm like, oh, I'm so relieved that he's not dead or lost. Yeah.
The cats do the strange thing. I was jokingly saying maybe Rory is going to a flat earth cat conference.
Exactly.
Maybe
they
he's
have
been
a
stuck
secret-
there for a while.
Maybe the cats have had a secret flat earth meeting.
They have a secret paw
Yes.
side.
They
He was in a
already
flat
knew.
drawer.
He was. I don't even know how he got in that drawer, really. It's where I keep all my gloves, like winter gloves, and he's in the drawer.
Well, maybe your cats, because they are eating vegan, they will becoming much smarter.
Maybe. I don't
why.
know. So weird.
So
When
maybe
was
the
last
next
time you
time
saw
when
Patricia?
Say that again.
When was the last time you saw him, apart from the drawer?
Earlier today, when my painter painted my front door, like an hour before, I thought he was lost or something like that.
Do you think the
Or
painter put him in your drawer?
No, he was nowhere near my bedroom, and it's a tight fit for him to get in there. I don't understand. Like, it's so weird.
I think the cat nibbles that are vegan are making him smarter.
I think maybe he was trying to trick me.
I know,
Everything was fine.
Patricia. He opened the drawer, he got in, and he shut the drawer behind him.
Exactly. I think one of the other cats pushed the drawer shut. Because
One
I
of the other
saw
cats
them.
did it.
Everything was perfect. I'm ready to go on, come on and join everybody. And all of a sudden, to give him food, only 2 show for the food. I'm like, where's the third? And just calling his name. And then that feeling of like panic and dread and fright. And I'm Rory outside like a crazy woman. And he's here the whole time sleeping in a drawer. Oh my gosh. Oh well. Just shows how much I love him.
Yeah.
All is
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
Very
Cats are
quickly
so
before
funny. They have
artists,
their own little thing.
Sorry.
the bit that he was showing us that you didn't see.
Yes.
I was just asking, how many people did you think that you actually had on your panel on your 200th episode? How many guests did you have?
You know what? I didn't count. I'm going to guess 15, but I could be wrong. At the very end, Crow 777 showed up. So I had like people come in waves. And Yeah, it was pretty cool. It was just cool to see everybody, you know?
Congratulations on that, by the way.
Well, I mean,
I didn't even get to see it, but I will. I'll watch it.
I don't even know if congratulations is necessary because I really haven't done anything except just like invite people to come on. So it's more like congratulations to them.
It is. It's about community, right? It's
Yeah.
about our community, building our community, and just having stuff like this. Like, you know, I love it. I love it. People, and it's always different people getting together. It's not always the same ones,
Right.
and it is a congratulations because you are the conduit and people together. A lot of them wouldn't have met as in now they're friends because of you. You got to think of stuff like that, not just, you know,
Well,
take a little bit of pride in what you do, girl.
Artie, one of them. Artie saw us, like when I went on Patricia's show, Artie saw it, and now and look at Artie's now.
Also, Marlena, we met on Pancho Pete's Hangout, meaning it's all
Exactly.
an interconnected web, and seeing other people on group hangouts does oftentimes forge friendships or brutal enemies.
Yeah. That's why my next video is all about kindness, because I'm tired of this.
Oh my gosh.
I think everybody should just try to get along, or at least love each other for something.
I don't even know if people are able
You
to
do a
it.
post, Patricia, the other day. You did the same thing, didn't you?
I try. I often try, but the thing is that I get branded with, oh, she just wants everybody to hold hands and sing Kumbaya. And then I say to them,
And I'll sing it with you.
yeah, I kind of do. I think that would be better than the opposite. But I do back it down and say, you don't have to like other people. Just treat them with the respect you'd wish to be treated.
Be kind. Yep. Be
And
kind.
then, of course, I get accused of doing horrible things to people behind the scenes because I'm a totally different person. Which, you know.
Oh, you know what, Patricia?
Okay.
I know I'm not going to say what it was, but if you and I didn't have that talk together we had, just you and I.
Oh, yes.
And to see your side of something, I was not just blown away, but I was really happy because I'm not one of those people that just because someone else tells me something, I'm going to believe it. If somebody does me wrong or does me dirty, to feel a certain way, but if somebody else is just trying to fill my head with bullshit,
that's a lot of people don't use critical thinking even in a truth community, but
of course,
whatever, people can believe what they want.
Of course. I don't want anybody to try to make me feel that way. And I always say, no one can tell me who I can be friends with or who I can talk to.
Right.
You know, even my parents didn't do that to us. They were like, well, you make your own judgment when something happens.
Yes.
You know, like you got to know somebody for their kindness first. And I believe everybody's good. They do shitty things.
Yes.
But I believe that everybody has that goodness in them, and you know they're the ones that have to live with the guilt and ridicule that they give to themselves. Because the biggest hell, there is no such thing as hell in my realm. What hell is what you're doing to yourself when you treat someone like shit. Regardless if they say something doesn't bother them, it does.
Yeah.
So they have to live with their own remorse.
I think a lot of people are unaware that they're doing things to other people that are really bad. They think what they're doing is revealing truth, when in reality they're only spreading something they purposely know is a lie. They want the knock down, the knock-on effect of that to bring the other person down, or they're accidentally spreading a lie because they haven't done research. But whatever, I mean, it's like that, you know, ever since we were children, whatever, gossip and innuendo and bullying and,
it's so funny when my dad when my mom and my dad would talk about stuff in front of us or anything. But my mom would say, you know what's worse than is a man that is rejected.
I've heard that too.
And was she ever right? Because my ex, I swear, you wouldn't even think he was the same person.
Right.
Because, you know, just by the way, you know, I got over it when I left. I got over it. That was it. Whatever. You did it to yourself. But then he did this malicious shit. But the people that knew me knew all this stuff wasn't true. But then you get the people that don't know.
I have a similar story, which I won't
I know. I know.
It is weird. Yeah.
I know. It's funny.
They do say hell hath no fury like a woman scorned.
Yeah.
Well, I guess if I were scorned, we could have seen some fury, but it wasn't the case in this case.
Right. But I know women, we could be a lot more better at it than, you know, if we wanted to. So we just say, nah, forget it. I'm just going to keep living my life. Do what you got to do.
Exactly, because it's you know, they say life's too short to worry about those sorts of things. But I do worry about beyond any personal things, and people might have issues with me. I worry about others that I know are good people that are getting tarred with a brush, and I know
Absolutely.
that there are people who are actually trying to hurt other people who, in a very small little community, are being uplifted as being truth tellers.
You know, I don't get that. It really hurts my heart to think that. And I know there is, because you guys point this stuff out to me. People that do this stuff on purpose, people that are purposely hurting people just for like getting a kick out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand that. I mean, how?
I remember when I was in junior high, this other girl convinced me, and I went along with it, so I was just as guilty, to go ring the neighbor's doorbell and leave a cutout of a hand. We'd read this thing in a Trixie Belden mystery book. I think it was Trixie Belden, like the Black Hand Association or the something hand, you know, those mystery books for teenage girls.
Yeah.
Where there's a protagonist girl. She's, you know, a daredevil kind of, and then she's got a friend who's more soft and mellow and reads books, and they're friends, and then they have these crazy adventures where they solve mysteries. Anyway, so it was this. So my girlfriend and I had read one of these Nancy Drew or Trixie Belden mystery books, and so we dared each other to go ring the doorbell of this girl who lived next door we weren't friends with, and leave a cutout of one of her hands, you know, on notebook paper. And we did it. And it's weird how, here's what's weird. I still remember it. And here's why.
Oh.
I felt bad about it. Not that the girl knew what that was, but that it was almost like I was terrorizing another human being in a way. And I remember now, even today, that incident, although it was a quick blip in time. And I think
that's that hell I'm talking about.
Most people, I think, know when they do something malicious toward another person. And we've all done it to one degree or another. But you remember, I also remember in junior high, there was a boy named Dan, I think. No, Andy. It doesn't matter what his name is because you guys don't know him, but I want to picture him in my mind. And people used to tease him and call him Andy Dandy. I have no idea why. And I was always nice to him. But for some reason, there was a moment in time when I got caught up in peer pressure and sort of like said something snippy to him. And he ran inside this other room, the school room during a recess. And the idea afterwards, instead of feeling like, yeah, I'm cool, I'm with the cool kids doing mean stuff to people, I felt horrible. It's like I remember that guy, Andy Dandy. Who knows where he is now? But I remember I hurt that boy for a brief moment in time. And I don't understand how people who really bully people
constantly
deal with it.
I can't understand adult bullies myself. Like kids, they'll do that because they're trying to come into their own, trying to belong, trying to fit in cliques and all this other stuff, and they don't want to be a reject, and which doesn't matter regardless if you're cliquey or not. Everybody is a reject because nobody's
better to embrace it. Embrace your inner reject because that's the better person.
Yeah.
Sure. I was writing with Thrive, and he wrote to me, and he was saying, you know, we say it's cruel to kick a dog. Whatever, smack, whatever it is, those things, but it's okay to be nasty to humans.
True.
You know, grown ups to be nasty.
Exactly.
Acceptable. We already know the wrongs and rights from the others.
Absolutely. Some animals have more rights than some women. You look at some countries, women have no rights, but their animals do.
This is true.
You know?
I had the privilege to have dinner with Mr. Thrive and Survive Rich at the Flat Earth International Conference, which was cool. We sat at the same table.
Yeah, he gave a shout out to Sun and Moon. He did at the conference, which was really great of him.
Yeah, that's cool.
Carry on.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah. I shouted out you too, by the way, Karen. I was asked to do a small blurb for somebody's station, and they just wanted me to introduce myself, say my channel, what my truth is, and then to shout out somebody else besides their station. And I shouted you out. I said,
thank you.
Yesterday.
So much, Marlene. And I know that an artist does as well.
So anytime, it is. It's nice because I met so many wonderful people through you, Karen. You know? I really am. And then you know what's so funny is Karen will have somebody come on and I'll already know them. And then you're like, do you know her? Like we knew each other for years. Yeah, I like that.
Well, so
we're all coming together, you know.
You've got Sun and Moon group, Sun and Moon Part 2. And do you still have Sun and Moon? There's a third one, right?
Yeah, Family United.
Family
well, YouTube did something on the first channel.
Right.
You know what happened on the second one?
Yes.
And so we're streaming from here, but I'm not putting any videos on this one, just the streams. I'm gonna Because, you know, we were talking about YouTube. It seems to me they're starting to put this little sign up called CC when you go to the main page and any videos come up. But I think that CC should be on every post so that people can see that it's copyrighted. But then
aren't they contradicting themselves, though? Because when we get that thing, like, you know, when we all, when you get the first, you know, that little blurb that they give you, this is what you can do, whatever, we are allowed to use fair use. You know, we are allowed. But how come they do? I don't understand how they could tell us one thing then contradict that.
Well, they yesterday I put a video out and I had there was 3 copyright things on it, and at top it says, so the people who own the video or the rights are going to make money out of it, then you don't have to do anything. But as you read it, if they decide to do that, you can take it off. You have to do. It's like the second strike I got. Nowhere was there any copyright anywhere, and yet I got a copyright strike.
They didn't tell you why? How scary.
Yeah.
They wouldn't talk to me. They just said they had known that they have evidence, whatever. And I said, well, show it to me then. Because, you know, you need to have a date and a time, whatever it is. They wouldn't.
They didn't tell you that who gave it to you?
Oh yeah, that's on the.
So you know who it is then. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Enough said. Yeah. Oh, I've finally gone into your live chat. You know, I'm usually in live chats when I'm on group shows if I have a moment. And I finally am here in the live chat. Let's see.
I can't do both because my computer will crap out. The only time I got a one that I had to take down was the time that Artist came on and we were doing the stuff about Egypt.
Artist copyright you?
Yes.
That Artist.
Yeah, that was the only time with that part. Yeah, I don't understand it. I remember one time when you could do whatever you want. There was some nasty stuff on YouTube. How come these people can go on and bash the shit out of other people and nothing happened to them? But then when there's people doing the truth, saying the truth, not even doing anything wrong, not even putting people down or anything, then they get copyrighted. You know, this is my 3rd channel, Patricia.
What?
They can do it at any time. They can change their mind, or 6 months down the line, you can get a copyright strike and all that happens, even though it's all crazy.
It happened to DITRH. He got copyright strikes on videos he did a couple of years ago on his channel that is now gone. He had to start up a new channel, which has less subscribers, of course, because that's how it always works.
He'll get them all again.
But that's what they want to do.
He's always consistent. Yep.
Starting another channel and another live feed. It just takes weeks and weeks to kick in properly. But when people realise that you're streaming somewhere else, even if you put videos out or whatever, it's all to go back to the beginning and make you have to start again.
Right. And a lot of times, if you've had a channel that's been around a long time, to be honest, there's people who subscribe to you then at the start, and then they just moved on with other things in their life. They may not even be looking at YouTube videos anymore, or they may have moved on to liking other channels more than yours. So you're more like a legacy subscription within their channel, you know, and they don't even know you're even a subscriber anymore, or that they subscribe to you anymore. But they'll all be wiped if you get what 3 strikes, you're out or something.
You know, as a community, what would be good is, because a lot of us are all connected now, is that anytime we know one of our friends got shut down, is to mention it and then put their new stream in our description.
Yeah, that is cool.
But not write they were shut down. Don't write that. But
did you hear what happened to Cat's Eyes the other day?
Yes. So what happened exactly? I just know she was shut down.
Oh.
Adam,
poor girl.
He's in the chat, and he's from Iron Realm Media. Hello, Adam.
Hey.
Hi, Adam.
To be Sean G came on. I showed some porn. Her channel was taken down.
Oh, just let everyone know that's not the real Sean G. That is the clone, and he even got the police involved with the last time this person used his name. And yeah, there's the real Sean, and then there's this guy that's going around pretending he's Sean, and Sean said he knows who it is, but he did get the police involved, by the way, because that guy's been slandering his name left and right.
Really? How crazy?
Yes.
What kind of people are going?
I know. I don't understand. It's like, wow, these people never had a ball. I don't know. They get a kick out of. I just don't understand that, Pat. I can't even. I can't. I don't know. I don't know. I just think it's so mean. Jump on someone's panel, snipe them all off. What's so fun about that? And they do it every day. It's like, doesn't it get old?
Do you know what? Do you know what as well? YouTube will know that it wasn't the real. Oh, they'll know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a loophole in the system that allows that to occur, but I don't know how they'd fix it. Number one, and number two, it's a power ploy that is used by the person who does the sniping, and it's not always the same person that does the sniping.
No.
The infamous T.O. we'll just say his initials. There's others who do it too, and those others also use the porn element. I don't know exactly who is responsible. I have no idea, but we always blame T.O. for it, and I don't think it's always
well
him.
he does seem to have his little group of people.
Yeah. It's probably somebody
that
he
hang
knows,
out.
I would imagine.
They send each other
Or
out.
maybe
Yeah,
he doesn't even task them to do it. But somebody was saying somebody named Lottie Says was doing it the other day. I don't know who that is. I recognize the name. You know what I'm saying? I recognize the troll channel name, but I don't know who is behind that. But I mean, the idea of putting porn on someone's channel and then reporting the channel, how devious. Who sat around and thought of that? That's nuts.
Right. That was done by, I'm not saying the person, but I know this has been done to a couple other big channels that I used to be a part of. I remember it happening, but we were able to stop the stream and get we put it to private right away and deleted it before that we ended up getting, well, not we, but they ended up getting in trouble for.
Yes.
Something real quick. Revival Magazine today is doing their 24-hour special.
Yeah, until 7 p.m. 7 p.m. Central or Mountain? Mountain.
Yeah,
I think.
I'm crazy with time. I don't know times with the thing. It's like the whole thing where the government will take. How does that go? The government will take a blanket. How does that go? I have it here. I even wrote it down because it made me laugh so much. Oh, here it is. When told the reason for daylight savings time to an old Indian, he says only the government would believe that you could cut a foot off of the top of a blanket, sew it to the bottom, and have a longer blanket. So that sums up for me I don't understand the times. I don't understand how it goes. But sorry, I didn't mean to get off topic for a second there. But yeah, he's 24. That's where it came from.
Yeah, 7 a.m. Mountain time. 7 a.m. Mountain. It started this morning, and it's going to wind up at 7 p.m. Mountain time, MST, Mountain Standard Time. So 24-hour live stream event, and he's going to. Is actually Flat Revival, and Flat Revival Magazine is doing art creation live and that sort of thing.
Oh, it's so nice. I love
it.
And he's,
isn't he?
Yeah, Ty Gordon.
Yes.
And I bought his magazine too. Flatrevivalmagazine.com is where you can purchase it. I bought it and I just got it in the mail the other day and showed it on my last show.
Beautiful,
so cool.
Right?
We've got magazines, we've got billboards, we've got conventions, we've got conferences, we've got art, we've got
radio station.
Oh, yeah. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Oh, quite a few radio stations.
I even wonder why that guy of Flat Revival Magazine actually knows that there was a Flat Earth magazine in the set.
There's the one in, is it the Ukraine? I was in it. Why can't I think of the country that it was in?
Artist, can you give me that link? Because I can give it to him right now.
Can I just say really quickly?
Okay, wait a second.
I think Mark kicked ass. I think Mark kicked ass on his interview with the BBC with Piers Morgan.
Oh,
I
that's
missed it.
nice.
I never watched it.
So
I
many
never
people were
watched.
giving him a hard time because Mark didn't say the things that they wished he'd say. But the thing is that, you know, Mark and I are our opinions of what how the
Mark
world
did
works
his thing. That's
differ.
what Mark
Yeah,
does. That's
exactly.
Mark's skill. He's not
Exactly.
scientific.
He
He's
has his own
break it
personality.
down
He's
to
his own
stupid
person,
simple.
you know.
Yeah. And he woke me up and many, many others. So if he woke me up, he can wake up those other people who will get beyond, you know, the stuff Mark says that the other flat earthers don't like that he says. There's no way to prove without a doubt most of the stuff in flat earth that we talk about and think about. But Mark gave him a good 101. And there were some people who watched that Piers Morgan Good Morning Britain thing the day before yesterday and did
I watched that.
Google flat earth and now are going down the rabbit hole. It's
Yeah.
100% true. People see a
And you can't
billboard.
explain it all in 5 minutes, can you? You can't expect him to
Also-
do the whole flat Earth in 5 minutes.
Oh, I can.
The Boston Globe wrote an article on Jibby Jedi.
Yeah, that's good. Boston Globe. Yep, I shared that as well. And
Yes. Yep.
it showed Jibby's real name, picture of him, talked about his story and his, like they called it a backstory in the article. You know, his family, death in the family, how it molded him, girlfriend, loss of that, and the emotions involved, and how he's driven to search for the truth. It was a really
Touching.
a touching story, but also I could see how they were spinning him as this like loner with a zombie
Oh,
kills
Yeah, like he's
keychain
gonna
and-
be the next like what's the guy that just took out Vegas supposedly?
Oh, yeah.
Like
My
Whatever that
goodness.
fake
Like
person.
he's gonna be
Yes.
the next guy like that, right? Like the next lone gunman.
Right. And that's where the thing
Wow.
about the media is you get in the media and they're going to spin it. It's a given. It's 100% you're going to be portrayed incorrectly. Whenever we see a mainstream story on flat earth or any truth, the number one thing I say after reading it, if I got lucky, was, well, could have been worse. It's never like, oh my God, what a perfect representation of all of our beliefs. That's never going to happen, no matter who does it. It's because they'll twist, they'll take it out of context, they'll cut your mic, they'll, you know, who knows what surprises they have in store for you. I mean, gosh, the other day with Mark Sargent, he had an astronaut joining him that he didn't know was joining him before it happened. Not that the astronaut threw Mark off his game, but, you know, Mark only knew there was an astronaut on as he was getting ready to go on, right? You know, right before they started. He was able to Google the guy and find out it was close to his birthday or something.
Yeah, and was he there? He was actually in the studio, wasn't he?
The conspiracy theory that was he was only CGI there, the astronaut Terry Virts, but I think he was there.
People are just mean.
That is funny.
It probably was CGI, wasn't it?
CGI
You know
on
what it
wires.
You know what it is, you guys, is that you guys been lied to so much that everybody, regardless who it is, has a hard time trusting each other. And I think that's where it has to, people have to start to learn to start to trust each other, because, you know, being lied to all your life, you're going to have a hard time trusting other people. So when you do watch other people, even though you have the same beliefs they do, just because you've been lied to doesn't mean everybody's going to lie to you from now on. Do you get what I mean?
I agree. And it is true. We have to still trust, even if we know we've been lied to, and we will get burned. That's why when we do, when we befriend new people here within the flat realm, you have to come to them with an open heart and open mind and open arms. And then later you might get burned, but that's just the cost of doing business. And that's what happens when you go interview for mainstream media. What's going to happen is you might get burned. But if you want to get this out there, you're going to have to take that chance and be strong.
Absolutely.
Well,
and make sure you keep your answers short.
Yeah, that's true. That they can less likely cut it up that way.
Yeah.
When I did that article in the newspaper, okay, Marlena, sorry, I'm butting in as well. But when they did that article, they took loads of pictures of me. I didn't really like the pictures, but they wanted me to, okay then.
Yeah.
And then they put out the worst pictures of me.
course.
Made me look,
Of course.
they made it awful.
They talked to Mark and I at the conference, Vice Magazine /HBO, and Mark and I talked to them for about 15 minutes. And Mark said something and held up his flat disc, and I was trying to get across that to the people interviewing us that, yeah, that's Mark's model, but yet other people think that, you know, the ice wall or ice shelf extends much further and there could be more land. But all that they kept of what I was saying about, well, and also I continued that it might not be a circle, it could be a different map. Many people trying to say this, but they just cut out, and that's the ice wall. I'm like, thanks, guys.
They're all twisted your words.
Like, well, it's like so annoying, but whatever, fine.
They do it with everything, though. It's not just flat Earth, but media does it with every single thing.
You know,
more special than the next person they're trying to make
true. They do it too. They do it on politicians who deserve it, celebrities who probably deserve it too. But no, they do it to everybody. But Carly Sunshine, the channel Carly Sunshine, she just put a video out right now. I haven't watched it yet, but she just messaged me, and her video is about exactly what we're talking about.
Nice.
She did a interview with a Rooster magazine, and the guy recorded the conversation and then misquoted her horribly, completely, and said stuff she would have never in her right mind ever say. And she did talk about that on my show yesterday, but also she's made her own video log on it today. She even asked the guy, messaged him later and said, hey, can I have the recording of the conversation that we had? And he said no.
Ooh.
So he wants to push lies.
She should have made her own at the same time. I would have been doing my own recording at the same time, but that's just me.
Right. When I interviewed for Hustler, I recorded as well. And they're going to come out with a written piece. So I'm glad I got out the actual recorded conversation first. But that guy seemed quite interested in flat Earth stuff. He didn't seem to be that, you know, trying. But you never know, because a lot of times people will, when you meet them in person or when you deal with them one-on-one, they treat you with utter kindness, and then later they're going to be stabbing you in the back. So
last week,
the wolf in sheep's clothing.
Freddie Flintoff came out with the fact he was a flat earther. I wrote to the Star newspaper, the guy that interviewed me, and I said, see, even Freddie Flintoff.
Yes.
And he wrote back and he said, why do you think that he came out with that?
Because it's the truth.
And also a lot of professional athletes are sitting around in their tour buses traveling with a lot of time on their hands.
Exactly. They look, they see it.
I was thinking maybe to prevent of somebody misquoting you can actually make them sign a contract that states that they have to quote you in the right way, or that therefore there's legal charges.
When you have an interview of any kind, you're supposed to sign a piece of paper to say you're happy or not.
No, but you can also make a contract for them, so they have to sign your contract. That you can also put legal steps again towards them, because they signed the contract. You put in front of them. So if you have a contract you make, and you make it, make sure that the legal person makes it for you. They have to sign a contract that you present to them, and if they if they do things that are not in the contract, and you put it in the contract, they couldn't do those kind of things, or like misquoting you and that sort of things. You can basically get them in front of a court because they signed your contract. So maybe that's a way to prevent those kinds of things. Make them actually sign the contract that you present to them.
It sounds like a great idea on the surface,
but they won't.
But a lot of people won't honor it, and they'll know you won't sue because you don't have the time, the wherewithal, the money, and they'll still get their article or their audio or video thing out before you have a chance to do anything about it, and then you'll be painted incorrectly, and there's no way to undamage a damaged reputation.
No.
It is.
Oh yeah. By the way,
especially when they keep saying wrong things about you, it's horrible.
Oh yeah,
it is.
Oh yeah,
it is.
It's also funny,
by the way.
It's just a bunch of lies from the beginning, and people then like believe it.
But the thing about it is, you have to look at it as funny, and you have to realize that eventually the truth will come out.
Absolutely.
And it already starts to come out little by little as you look. And
that's right.
Don't worry
Patricia.
about it.
It does. You're right. And I'm glad that our conversation happened the way it does, because it came back to me talking to people in my chat room. I have over 200 people in my room that I made aware of the difference between both conversations.
Interesting.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Oh, I had to, because it's my duty as somebody that I believe everybody should be fair to each other and not be judged by what somebody else feels like about the person. Not what they think, what they feel like. And there's a big difference. But off track a little bit. Christmas parades are coming up, you guys. So I really am still putting it out there. I want some people to make some flat earth floats and put them in your parades. Okay?
Oh,
Please.
cool.
Yeah, that's cool.
Right? They got it.
Also,
Why not?
I want to ask you, Marlena, what part? I did a presentation on your channel, and you were struck because I presented something about ancient history on your channel.
Oh, when we were right. Remember when we were doing
what picture was it?
walls?
Sorry?
You know when we were doing the stuff from Peru?
Yeah.
It was one of those pictures.
That's
Belonged to a magazine.
I guess see.
Or some shit. I'll just show you. One of those pictures of the wall from Machu Picchu, I believe.
Yeah.
I think it was one of those. Yeah, I know for sure it was one of those pictures. It was one of them that actually came from a magazine. Because remember, we were looking at stuff that was online. It was one of those ones. But it's no big deal.
I never have had that happen because I show the pictures on my channel.
Yeah,
and
that's right. You've done it on your channel. You've done it on other people's channels. But for some reason, they done it on mine. But I took care of it. I showed them, the whole, I have this in my thing. It's fair use.
Yeah.
Because it's on other people's videos also, not just that specific website.
And most of the time I ask people if I can use their pictures. And they, most of the time, just like Brian Forrester, I asked him, can I use your videos and pictures in a Hangout? Yeah, go ahead. The more people know it, the better.
Exactly.
Don't worry. That's exactly how they should react. And that's I also always, when you're on, I always show the picture of free Leonard Cartier.
I appreciate it.
As long as he's in jail for over 40 years now for a crime he didn't commit.
He did not commit. That's right.
They only put him away because he's basically political.
Because he was Indian. Nope. Because he was native. If he was a white man and he was doing the same political stance, they wouldn't have put him in jail.
No, indeed.
He was an easy target. And everybody knows, even the government, everything knows that this man did not do it, but they still won't let him out. And the fight is still going on,
I think he's now 72 years of age.
Yes, he is. He was the same age as my mother.
Did you read that he wrote also a letter on the internet that was very beautiful for Thanksgiving?
No, I didn't. I'll have to look at it.
No, I will send it to you. It was a very beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I'm gonna have to make some communication, let them know how old I am now and stuff. Because I was so little, and through the years that we did have a little bit of contact here and there, while my mother was alive, right? Because she used to talk to him through like in jail, I
will paste the link to that letter of his to your channel. Yeah.
Thank you.
It was a Thanksgiving letter to all the people who support him and want to get him free because he should be free a long time ago.
Oh my gosh, yes. Most definitely.
Yeah. That's why when you're on the show, I will put on that picture. Make everybody aware of it, that it's a shame that he's still in jail.
It's actually very cool mural art anyway. Very cool.
Yeah. I tried to find the most nicest picture I could find.
Yeah.
I thought that one was pretty cool.
We were talking about mainstream media, and I just got an email from a very, very big mainstream American magazine who writes to me using my name. They say they're writing a story about how flat earthers view planets besides Earth. I'd love to speak with you to understand how you see the universe. Obviously, this person hasn't really looked into flat Earth using the words planets and universe. Would you be willing to talk with me? Blah, blah, blah. Email. So
Patricia?
I think I'll do it. But then again, I might say something that they'll turn around into me. So Steere said all planets are actually green beans flying in backwards in the sky or something nuts. So, you just don't know. But I will definitely take this chance to be. I think they're interviewing a bunch of people since it's only a print magazine. It won't be audio. and it won't be video. So it'll just be probably a quote from me and a quote from like a bunch of other people that they've also sent the same email to. So that's cool. So really the stuff that's happening lately with the Boston Globe article and Mark Sargent, which is probably what sparked this all on Good Morning Britain the other day, with Piers Morgan, that's what's causing all of this fallout with all of these other media outlets trying to get a piece of the flat earth pie to do a story on it. So striking while the iron is hot, I think is highly recommended, meaning if anybody gets an email like that, you know, write down some bullet points of what you want to discuss, make sure they're quick. And like a couple other people were saying in your live chat, make them, you know, like what I think, Karen, you said it, like a very short sentence answers. Don't talk about anything that can't be proven, nothing too crazy or out there. Keep it very generic and, you know, understandable, and take your best shot, because an article in a newspaper or a magazine or whatever, a morning show, when you have a chance like Mark did, it's going to wake people up. I mean, you're going to get blowback from the people who, I don't know what their problem is, but you know, they're called the haters because they're people who like to hate. It'll be extreme, but if you're able to handle it, definitely go for it. Do it. It helps all of us in the end.
Yeah, indeed. Everything that is on the media that is talked about the flat Earth is great, because people will research it if they are interested in it.
And if they're not interested and they just want to laugh, that's fine. It's okay. I think it's interesting too, though, because I've talked to lots of people in my personal life since 2015 about flat Earth, and I know some of them now who don't talk to me as much as they used to because they think I'm a bit nuts. I know, including my brother, who's not even really talking to me right now, are going to see one of these articles. You know what I'm saying? They're going to see it and they're going to think, wow, maybe my sister's not crazy after all. So it's like a little bit of sweet revenge.
Yeah, that's cool. Because indeed, sometimes after that, the people will take you seriously and think, oh, maybe she's right. Oh, he's right.
There's a guy named Kamal Rai. He, I believe, lives in India, and sent me a picture of the Mad Mike Hughes rocket article that's in his paper. It says self-taught scientists to launch self-made rocket using garbage scrap. You know what I mean? It's getting out in India in the Hindu Times. He just sent me a picture of it.
Yippee.
I mean, it's cool.
You know, the Indonesia Flat Earth site on Facebook has over 20,000 people in their site on Facebook.
It's a bit hard for people to miss flat Earth nowadays, isn't it? I mean, YouTube is. People are coming out with it on the media now. Conferences. Come on, come on.
Also, Marlena, I sent on Facebook all the things about the Flat Earth magazine, and also on the whole site about all kinds of old Flat Earth news clippings and everything. And I sent you the link to Leonard Patel's greetings for Thanksgiving.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
On your Facebook. Great.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Marlena, Okadina Walker is in our chat and would like to know if where exactly you're from, the Northeast.
Yeah, I'm in northern New Brunswick. It's above Maine, where Maine is in the United States. It's right above there. Yeah. Right on the East Coast, right off the Atlantic Ocean.
I'm listening. Yeah, I'm listening to you guys, and I'm also in the live chat too. So
that's great. I wish I could do both, but I can't.
I do both.
I'm doing neither very well, so that's all I can say.
My computer says I don't think so when I try.
I always have my eye on the chat, well, as much as possible.
Z Proxy says that Google Trends is also spiked for flat Earth. Ukdina Walker.
They can't tell the truth, can they? Because people who've monetized, what are they going to say? The biggest revenue out is to flat Earth.
Well, that's why some channels are talking about flat Earth that just are talking about it to talk about it, because they're like, this must be a thing. I guess this is the thing, as opposed to having the passion for looking into it because we know that we've been lied to. Kind of a different reason.
Yeah.
Marlena Okdina Walker says she knows where New Brunswick is, and she too lived in the
Hey.
woodlands for a number of years.
Nice. Well, then she knows.
Okdina Walker is a very cool, fabulous woman, awesome person. So you guys
Yeah, she
probably
comes
should talk. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, when you live in the area that we live, we have no huge buildings that will obscure your view of the very flat place we live. And living like a lot of times on the water, you know, fishing and what have you, where we do, there's times, and like people say, well, you can't tell what the ocean is always moving, but that's not true. There's a point in the day when we have the ebb tide happens, where the tides are shifting, where the whole entire water looks like ice. I mean, sorry, looks like a mirror, and it's very flat. You can't see curves or anything like that. And we could see our buoys as far away as they are. We could see them because we need to see them to get, to navigate back to the land. We need to know where the buoys are. And these buoys are only like 2-3 feet high. So you can imagine if you could see them from I say kilometers right away, then if there was a curve, we wouldn't even be able to see those at all. Mm-hmm. And we also have ice hockey, as everyone knows, here in Canada, but we also have it on our river, and our river is very, very long, miles and miles long. And if there was a curve, you wouldn't be able to play ice hockey because your puck would not be able to, you know what I mean? It would be going down a hill.
Oh, wow. Well,
you
wait
be
a
able
minute.
To play.
Oh, you wouldn't be you mean not playing on sort of a regulation ice hockey rink? You're talking if you're playing on.
Yeah. Yeah, we play like out on the river, yeah. And our river's really big.
Huh.
Yeah. The ice is flat.
This is true, as is the water. But some people don't like the water being flat argument as anything having really a proof of flat Earth. It is a proof that water is always level, but does it prove the Earth is actually flat? It could only prove that the area where the water is flat. You know, there's so many ways to keep parsing and dicing something up till you're left with nothing. So,
well, you know what? They could believe what they want. I'm not here to make anybody believe anything.
I agree.
I just let them know the truth and what I have experienced and seen. And
that's what I don't debate.
Things, you know? I
don't argue. I don't.
No, I don't debate.
Not
either.
Interested. And it's not because I don't understand it. You know, there's a lot of things about the flat Earth and the various models and the way the sun and moon work that I don't understand because it's not my actual interest. I'm not the person that's interested in that aspect of flat Earth, and there are people who are, and I leave that to them. I'm more interested in, like I've always said, the interpersonal thing, the dialogue, the feeling that it gives you as a human being, the freedom involved with it, and how we all have to deal with what happens after you become a flat earther emotionally with your family, etc. The social aspect of flat Earth, I think, is probably what I deal with the most. But I
think that's important. I think that's really important.
You know, the looking at of maps is
we all have our part, don't we?
And
we can't be all the same thing.
Right.
We've all got a part.
It's all
we're very lucky that there's lots of researchers, like even artists or FPV.
Right. It's all important. Just like before we found out about this, all of us had areas of specialty. None were more important than the other. The guy who puts the stickers on the apples, like we were talking about before, that person's job is just as important, I guess, to let us know at least what's organic and what's not, as, you know, the person who, I don't know, delivers mail. I mean, we need mail. We need to know what the organic, all of these various things that we do in life all make the society we live in. Not that the society is all that great sometimes, but we do need doctors and lawyers and house builders and painters.
Absolutely.
We need all of us to do it to make the world we currently live in.
That's right. We're all pieces to that big puzzle, right?
Exactly. So nothing wrong with that.
Because they do all correlate. Like when we talk and I tell people about what we've been taught, you know, all these centuries, and then they tell me what they've been taught. I'm talking about the ones that have just learned about the truth, whatever. The majority of the time, there's certain stories that they know or remember that will click into what I was talking about. So then, and then it goes on. It's like this big chain of beautiful people just remembering things that, oh yeah, I remember this specific thing, you know, or when they remember when they were flying and never seen anything that remotely looks like, you know, because really when we go over skyscrapers, they should all be on a tilt, right? As high as they are, they should be on a tilt, like how the Leaning Tower of Pisa looks. From a distance, that's what we should see.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but, you know.
I'm talking about the big cities,
okay.
right?
I see what you're saying.
It's 8 inches a mile, isn't it? For the first mile, it's 8 inches, and after that, it's
Exactly.
squared.
But that would be a lot, skyscraper-wise, would be a lot, because you know how very tall they are. If there was that, you know, that 8-inch, the higher you get, the more an 8-inch is. You know what I'm talking about? Like when I'm flying, say, 8 inches on the ground, and when I'm above, it's going to be totally different. There's going to be more. Do you understand what I mean? It's so hard to explain that.
Yeah, Carly's in the chat room, and I did
Hi,
mention
Carly.
that anybody in the chat room should sub her channel and then go check out the video that she put out today, which is about mainstream media interviewing you and then taking everything you said, going crazy and spinning it into some story that you never actually told them. So, yeah, check it out.
Yeah, very, very mean that they do that. So it's just ridiculous.
Well, they do it to make a good story that'll sell. That's really what it's all about, because the real story that Carly told is not as exciting as the story of Carly saying the stuff that the guy says she said, which is weirder and crazier. The real true story of Flat Earth is amazing and magic, as we all know. But when the people say, oh, some tinfoil hat conspiracy, that's a much more jazzy story that's going to attract media. You know, when you say some very intelligent people who are incredibly well-spoken, who have families and jobs and, you know, and do things for society, believe the earth is flat, that's not a story. They love stories about nut jobs. So that's how they paint us.
Just to say that Carly says her video is uploading right now.
Oh, okay. I'm selling her video that's not even available yet.
Oh, Karen B. Karen B.
At least you're getting it out there, right?
Right.
Yeah,
also, for the people here in the Hangout, on the group chat, I've posted a link about a lot of flat Earth things from the 70s and the 80s.
And that's that magazine where it says newspaper and magazine articles. That one right there is what you were showing also, right? Because it says $5,000 for proving the Earth is a globe. And nobody could prove it in 1931. That was in 1931. That's so awesome.
We didn't get interest on that till today.
That was basically, they printed in a couple of newspapers, that article. It was basically challenging other people to disprove that the Earth was flat. And nobody could disprove it. Nobody, till this day. And they didn't have to give that money away because nobody could disprove his theory about the Earth being flat. Even back then.
Yeah, about being a globe. It says, right here, footballer arrested to hide fake moonwalk. Faked moonwalk.
So many people believe the moonwalk was real, and they actively believe it. And I will say that before Flat Earth in 2015, I believed, not the moonwalk, the moon landing, same thing, that I believed we went to the moon up until 2015, early 2015. But I never looked at it before. You know what I'm saying? It was just things I learned in school, and I never looked at it again.
Oh my gosh, Patricia.
And I went through my whole life.
It was fake when I seen the Earth rise.
It's all ridiculous. I look at it now and I think, if I had taken 1 minute of studying any of that instead of just relying upon, oh yeah, I saw those photos when I was a little child, it would have been game over. I could have been a flat earther a whole lot sooner, maybe.
I remember, it's so funny. I remember when we talked about it, and I remember I was really little, and my great uncle says, how could they land on a piece of energy? Like, it was so funny when they were talking about, how could they land? They can't land on a piece of energy. You know, because the way it is the sun, gave us our life, like the energy from the sun gave us our life, which is our spirit, whatever you want to call it, your energy, and your life source. And then the moon, it gives us our energy. So we sleep at night and we get charged by the moon. This is how it was told to us, and this is how I teach it, is the moon gives us the energy, and that's why we have to sleep. So the moon and the moon energy gives us the energy we need to go on the next day.
Very interesting.
So yeah,
it makes sense.
You can't land on energy.
That's a very deep statement.
Or can you?
Yeah, exactly.
You can. Yeah. How do we know now?
Well,
right?
a lot of people say that maybe
With
you
the
can
energy.
land on the moon. Maybe, I mean, but not in the way we've been
You can
told.
fly through it.
Yeah, maybe.
Patricia,
Who knows?
you've flown. You've flown probably as much as I have, because I know you fly a lot. And I've gone to different parts everywhere. Like I've gone as far as, far down as Haiti, Australia, I've gone to like California. I've gone overseas. I've gone, all when it comes to what I have to see, right?
Yes.
The experiences is all the same. And the moon was always in front of me or behind me. There was never a point where the moon was really high above me. Like even the pictures I have, the moon is in front. And it was through perspective how it would just move while I was moving.
Huh.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And I have pictures that prove that. So I'm like, just clicking. Oh, it's right in front of me, taking a picture. But I never got to a point where I caught up to it.
Wow. You're a moon chaser.
Yeah.
Hey, Marlena,
never tried,
that's why
but
I really want to shoot a weather balloon up during the day when the moon's out during the day. I want to get a closer look at the moon.
Interesting. Yeah.
I think you should.
Because apparently we can't do it at night. It's illegal, apparently. I don't know why. That seems ridiculous. What's the difference at night or during the day? They say it's because of air traffic, but that makes no sense because there's air traffic during the day.
Yeah, that's all bull. Well, it's funny because, okay, there was me here in Canada. There was Wobbly down in Australia. There was my friend Priya in India. Brandon in California. Another friend of mine over in Vancouver. We had somebody in England. And there was 8 of us all together. And we all took a picture of the moon at the same time. So that either proves there's 2 moons, or actually could still prove 2 moons, but it shows that because they were in different directions, they weren't where they should have been logically. Like for me, mine was it happened to you and I too, Karen, that time.
Yeah.
When we were talking about it, because it wasn't it shouldn't have been where, like in both of our perspectives, shouldn't have been where they were. Right?
Well, we talked about this before about maybe there's 2, well, maybe more. There's 2 because
2 for sure.
Year I was going off, it should have been in America, but it was going off. And at the same time, someone from Australia says the light's coming up there at the same time. So it made me think there's got to be 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, we lost Patricia.
Yeah, I
Sorry.
just popped away. I don't know. I know what I did. I hit the back button and it was just me being dumb. But
But did you hear what I said?
no.
All over the okay. So there was okay, so I'll instead of saying everyone's names again, I'll just say the places. So there was California, Australia, India, up here in Canada, over on also the west coast here in Canada, over in Vancouver. There was like 8 different continents. And we all took pictures of the moon at the very same time. Think about it.
That's impossible.
Which is impossible.
Especially Australia.
Exactly. Is it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And see, that his name is Wobbly's. Well, Trevor. Time I was taking my picture because the moon was out, of course, in the daytime here. It was nighttime for him, and every single person had the moon out at the same time. We all took a picture.
I mean, right away, isn't that game over?
It is. It is.
But then people would say, well, maybe the globe is much bigger. Well, no, that even wouldn't make sense.
Well, they can't say that
They
because
try to
they've
make
already told us
every-
it's a certain size.
They try to make every excuse every excuse.
Yeah.
I
No.
was talking to a guy in my car one day that he told me he works on satellites, but I almost want to really doubt that, because after that he told me that he's pretty sure that the moon was bigger than the Earth, and I'm like, no, dude, I don't think so. I think he might have that a little backwards. And he actually pulled out his phone to look up and find out that the moon is only like 23% of the size of the Earth.
Yeah, which is why the Earthrise didn't make sense when I seen it when I was little.
So
Or
if
younger,
he
I
works
should say.
on satellites, I'd like to know what sky he's looking at night, you know?
Well, I mean, maybe he works on, somebody works on satellites, somebody creates them, and not those people aren't in on it. I mean, they make them.
They don't even know. Some of them don't know. Yeah, they don't know they don't know the truth. They just do their job, basically.
Right.
They don't know. Yeah. So.
Yeah, Vinny talks about that all the time when he talks about when he was working on like satellite parts and stuff. He said that he would just do his part and then turn it in.
Yeah.
That's it, exactly.
But there are drone-ish kind of things they use, which is only held up because they have solar panels. I'm talking about little things, solar panels on them. But no matter how many times I flew, and I don't know with you, Patricia, but I'm guessing that you'll say the same thing. But flying at night, I've never seen satellites in the sky.
No, I never have. And I have, though, one time believe I saw stars. And I've had people say, I don't believe you, but I was awake. I was flying from the United States to England, and I looked out of the window and saw stars on the way there, but not on the way back. And I'd been to the UK several times, and that never happened. But at night, they dim the lights in the cabin, and I had my window closed and my sleeping mask on, just trying to sleep the trip away, 'cause it's pretty long. And then I just kind of woke up and looked outside, and it was like, not just one or two, like thousands of stars.
Me too. I've seen some too when I was flying over, which is the flattest place in Canada. It's Saskatchewan. The province of Saskatchewan is 760 miles of flat land. And I was flying over there, and it was nighttime, and you could not tell where the lights of the cities, you couldn't tell where they ended and the stars began.
Wow.
It was
that's
beautiful.
Cool.
It was so beautiful.
I was over the ocean, I think, although I don't know for sure. So it was quite dark, and I figured that that's why I could see the stars. And it made me think that they looked closer, obviously, but obviously not that much closer, technically speaking, because I was only in an airplane. It's not.
They are quite close, Patricia.
But they were closer. I swear, I felt we could turn the plane and fly over to them. That's how it felt. And it was magical. And I was awake on the plane. I was flying by myself and was thinking, I want to tell somebody this, but I don't think anybody would ever believe me, because we're always told you can't see that. But I know you can. It happened to me one time, but one time only.
Mm-hmm.
The stars are starting miles up, maybe 12 miles up they start, about 12 miles. Far away.
Yeah, they didn't look to me when I seen them. Yeah, they don't look like they're really far.
Also, I came back from a flight from Ibiza, and I saw the stars.
Wow!
In fact, I had pictures of them, but I actually saw, there was some weird bits in it. I just deleted them, and it's a bit different because you actually almost feel like you're in the stars.
Yes.
That's what it feels like, doesn't it? When you see them,
like I was in the stars. Yes. And
you're right there.
And pilots must see stars all the time when they fly.
Almost like Space Mountain at Disneyland.
Yeah.
Well, if you imagine you're 7 miles up,
and
let's start at 12. Sorry, Josh.
Oh no, I was just saying. For some reason, that Space Mountain ride, I don't know why, but they had this like gigantic like space cookie inside there. They had this big old form inside of it that looked like, I don't know, my whole life it looked like a freaking cookie. It seriously looked like a chocolate chip cookie in space. I don't know.
Wait, when you were on Space Mountain in Disneyland?
Yeah. one of the
Interesting.
projections that they would show, I swear, just it looked like a big old cookie. It tripped me out every time I saw it. And I used to have a season pass, and I live right here in Southern California, like 20 minutes away from Anaheim. So I used to go to Disney. We used to ditch school just to go to Disneyland, just to go hang out. Like, that's how close it was. And yeah, it got to the point with that Disneyland pass, we got tired of riding the rides. But I was in that ride all the time, and between that and what was the other one? The Star Wars ride. Dang it, I can't remember the name of it now. Kind of funny how you forget stuff when it doesn't matter to you anymore, right?
Exactly.
If you imagine though,
That's like I used to. Sorry, Karen, go for it.
I was just going to say, if you imagine that the stars start about 12 miles up, miles in a plane, you're really close to them. The start of them.
Yeah. That's why it felt like you were in the middle of them. We weren't, but it felt really close to it.
I just say I found a video where they've got a night altitude balloon. The moon's there, and the stars are below the balloon, and the balloon's 15, 17 miles up, and the stars are some of the stars are below.
That's so cool.
The camera.
Stars are, sometimes I just think that they're there to look pretty. That's not very scientific, but it's possible that they're there to provide light and beauty. What do you guys think about that? Is that crazy?
No, I definitely go for that. Just
and
because
also, like a map, so we can see where we are and figure it out. But
actually, they the Gospel of Christ. It's called the Hebrew Matroth. It predates the Zodiac.
Really?
Next time you go outside, look up and think to yourself, I know you're only miles away. And you suddenly see that really they're only miles away. Once you realise they're only miles away, you can see they're only miles away.
Patricia, just a small example. Virgo, right? In the Zodiac?
Yes.
And it's kind of funny that in the New Testament, Christ was born of a virgin. And Virgo is the virgin it's the word for virgin in Latin.
Yes.
It's all the same. It's just been repackaged.
Yeah, all that's very fascinating what you're talking about.
Sorry.
But a lot of people, who have beliefs other than that get quite offended. So, but it is really cool and fascinating.
I get Christians that don't like when I. They think that I'm like tarot cards and horoscopes and stuff about the Matroth. And I'm like, dude, aren't you listening? I'm not telling you about my story. My story isn't written in the stars. Story is. That's all. But yeah, apparently if I talk about that, I'm being blasphemous somehow. I don't know.
I hate labels.
Me too. When we talk about,
I don't even like being called a Christian.
Blasphemy. I'm sorry.
Because the modern day Christian is nothing what's in Scripture and nothing what I want to look like.
What does this mean?
Or a native person. You can be really proud of that now, can't you?
Oh yeah.
I mean, not that you weren't before. Not that you weren't before, but you can be even prouder now because, we're all jealous that you've always lived a flat earth life.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh.
Well, we had to wake up.
Yeah. But there was always people interested. Like we've always had people from all walks of life come here to learn, always. There was never a point where people weren't coming to try to learn something different. They come for specific reasons, for their own spirituality. Sometimes they have to go through this life-changing ordeal to come into knowing that we are more than just what this place try to tell people that you live and die and that's it, and you mean nothing to nothing. You know, for people to wrap their mind around the fact that there's always been, and there's a forever. It's not, you got to do this and fit all this stuff into this one little this one little package of life, and that's it, and you're done. I mean, that's a hard way to live, I would think.
Yeah, true.
When someone goes through a tragedy, and it's a lot of the times that's what happens, they lose somebody or something like that happens, or they'll witness something very magical that can't be explained, where they'll come to us and say, can you please this was, or how do I handle this? How do I live after knowing something like this? You know, I'm not saying live, but how do they live with knowing this kind of a truth?
Right.
How do they? A lot of them want to learn how to spread it, how to tell other people. You know what I mean.
Also, just try to emotionally deal with it on their own. How do you
exactly?
How do you do it?
Exactly.
You need sometimes a place to put something in your mind, like, how do I even describe this to myself?
Absolutely. It's interesting, though. I think it's beautiful. I really do. I think it's such a beautiful thing. It's like watching. To me, this is how I describe it when I tell people, when I'm watching everybody's communities grow bigger, and just how it is. It reminds me of little buds of a flower just opening.
Oh.
And that's it. That's how it reminds me. You know.
Yeah.
Or what it reminds me of.
That's why the negativity and the misplaced anger, which people think is well-placed anger, is sort of like a thorn. When you touch a thorn on a flower, it's like, I didn't see that there. Oh, you know, it makes it just is not. It takes away the magic and the beauty of the whole thing. It's like, come on, we don't need that.
Yeah, there's a different way that people can live, and they don't realize it. They do wake up and realize it, then they're like, well, how do I carry on now? You know, now that I know the truth, what do I do? You know,
apologize to people you've wronged, and then just act forward, move forward, and they'll say that's okay, and things will be great. Definitely. A lot of people can't do it, won't do it.
Look at yourself in the mirror and say, I forgive you.
Yeah, that's true.
You forgive yourself. You know, you say sorry to yourself for allowing your spirit to go down like that. And, tell yourself you're sorry. Yourself, it's not your fault. It's nobody's fault. How they are made to do certain things, because you know what? When you're indoctrinated, you act indoctrinated.
This is true.
Until you break that spell, because it is kind of a spell, isn't it?
Yes.
Once you break that spell, then you can go on in different ways and start treating people differently. Because I've seen people totally change, where they were mean and really, and then all of a sudden it's like something in their life, and then they were able to, be more human to each other, or humane.
Yeah, we can only really hope for that, and that's it. Just go forward and do you, and try to be nice. If people misunderstand your actions, I've also learned there's no amount of explaining your actions in the world that you can do to make people who've already made a decision about you look at it.
And it's none of your business.
Yeah,
it's none of your business.
Their life.
Really, it is. It just let it go, let them go. You don't need that in your life. You don't need to explain shit to anybody. You just, your true self comes out, and when people start to look at the other side of whatever this other person or that person says, when they start looking at that specific person, they will judge for themselves. And I'm not saying judge as in, we should not judge each other thing. I'm talking about be more open-minded, and look at the person for what they are, not from what someone told you they are.
Yes.
It's very important.
Yes.
And don't be mean to someone just because somebody else is being mean. Just like you said,
just
when
like
you were younger.
In junior high to some poor kid named Andy. Like, why?
But that was your age. As adults, people shouldn't be doing that shit.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But when you did it when you were younger, that's more of a learning thing than
It makes
I'm going to
you
be like this for the
feel
rest of my
bad.
life.
I remember it made me feel bad. And so how are people able to have this really bad feeling and live with it on a daily basis? I
Right.
guess maybe they've done it so many times that they've gotten numb. They've got like a callus.
And I think it's okay. And most of the time, these people were bullied or treated like shit. So then they think it's okay to treat other people like shit. It's
Yeah.
learned behavior
Not
at the
just
end.
that. We talked about this before, where people are saying that they're flat earthers, but flat earthers, excuse me, Patricia, I don't know which way that you go on this, but you know, to a lot of us now, this is a spiritual realm we live in, a spiritual awakening.
I think so.
And if you get that, then it's what you're talking about: respect, being as treat people as you wish to be treated, getting to know more people, knowing we don't know it all, and like you've got chat group. Yours is a social chat. Me the same. I bring a platform for people to talk, and it's helping each other, networking with each other, making more friends. And then these other people are just sort of very narcissist and it's incredible, because once you really wake up and are into this sort of more sensitive sort of spiritual side, you actually can't. There's no way
act
I can
like that.
talk to.
You can't act like
Yes,
that's true. I agree.
Yeah. Because we are spirits having a human experience, not the other way around, right?
That's a Police song. We are spirits in the material world. I remember hearing that a long time ago. And I liked the Police back in the day for a lot of their songs that in the 80s and 70s were really deep songs that sort of fit the feelings that we all have in this awakening now.
Yeah, this song's meant a lot back then, didn't they?
Yeah. And I know there's songs.
I love the songs.
Some people have, I mean, there's a lot of music out now, and you risk sounding like a very old, out of touch person when you say things like, hell, the music today ain't like it used to be. but
it's
true,
because it's not like, slap your bitches and hoes stuff.
Exactly. And there's some good stuff too. Obviously there is, but when Spirits in the Material World, I mean, when the Police album came out, in 81, that's the year I graduated from high school. The album was called Ghost in the Machine. And it's even the title of the album, Ghost in the Machine. I mean, this is talking about, they used a synthesizer on it, and it had a slight world beat to it, but also a computer aspect to it, because it was sort of forecasting what was yet to come. The world we're living in now, not particularly flat Earth, but where everything is interconnected with Wi-Fi and all of these other things. We have to always remember we are spirits existing in this material world. And by spirits, I'm not saying a particular religion. You fill in the blank, whatever it is you feel, even if you don't have a religion, your spirituality. So I don't ever really talk about one. I mean, everyone has their own, and a right to that for sure, I think.
So one of the prophecies that, like, we have a book of our prophecies, right? That talks about, and one of these things was directed for today, like for this day and age. And it goes like this: when the earth is ravaged and the animals are dying, people shall come unto the earth from many colors, classes, creeds, and who by their actions and deeds shall make the earth green again. They will be known as the warriors of the rainbow. That's one of the.
If that doesn't say anything about today's day, then I don't know what does. Warriors of the Rainbow. Sounds like the gay pride parade.
Well,
a lot of the prophecy stuff, like, it does. A lot of these sayings do ring true. The majority of them ring true to right now.
Yeah, to me it sounds like,
because this is true.
It doesn't sound as much gay pride as it sounds like the rainbow, meaning all the different types of people.
I never even thought about that.
Neither did I.
It says it for itself right here: many colors, classes, and creeds.
Yeah,
and by their actions and deeds shall make the earth green again. Wow. And then I would say, yeah, it could be because everybody's legalizing weed. That's green again, but I was joking.
I found the lyrics to the Police song, which I vaguely remember.
Oh, nice.
It says, there is no political solution to our troubled evolution. Have no faith in constitution. There is no bloody revolution. We are spirits in the material world. Our so-called leaders speak with words they try to jail ya. They subjugate the meek, but it's the rhetoric of failure. So,
wow.
You know, the song, when you read the lyrics, isn't as powerful as when you hear the repetitive chorus and the beat and all of that, but it's still a really good song. Good memories.
Yeah. I don't think we listen to a lot of the words in the songs, do we? Or we
I
don't
always have been. I always would. I had albums. I would always read the liner
me
notes.
too.
I'd be, you know, we didn't. Yeah, I wanted to learn the lyrics, but you know, we didn't have the internet because some albums wouldn't have lyrics, and it was like, I'd be playing the song on my tape recorder, playing it, stopping it with a cassette. You know what I'm saying? Write down the lyrics and then hit play again if it was an album that didn't have, you know, or a cassette that didn't
the
have
lyrics right on them. Yeah.
So and now within a second, I can Google anything I want. In a way, people have it so much easier now than when we were younger. So much easier with the information that's available at a moment's notice. I mean, I grew up with the Encyclopedia Britannica, as my mom bought the whole grouping of. And anytime we'd ask my mother a question about why does blah, 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 she'd say, don't pick my brain, go look it up. And we'd have to look it up, especially a word. And if it was a word, we'd have to read it out loud to her.
That's right. The misunderstood word. We had to do the same thing.
I think that's a good technique. Actually.
It is. I agree.
And I see parents with younger children in grocery stores or wherever out and about, and I see sometimes some really great parenting going on. You know, you're walking by somebody in a store, and I saw a dad the other day saying, which one should we pick, Jenny? And she's like looking at the different, I don't know, cereal boxes, and the father's saying something about this one has good for you things in it, this one doesn't, trying to teach a young child to make good decisions at a young age. And I just gave him a smile and said, great job, great parenting job, Dad. And maybe the guy thought I was weird, but I felt like I needed to say, like, hey, way to go, because you do see children.
But it's nice to have praise, you know. It's nice that you did that, because you probably made that guy's day for the rest of the day.
Or he thought, what a weirdo. But still, exactly.
Probably both.
Yeah, probably both.
There was even on the radio, on the German radio, a nice show. It was very funny. It was also talking about old things. And then there was portraying an old guy. He was talking to his grandkid, and he was saying, well, back in the days, we had a TV, and we had to get up, walk toward it to change the channel. And you know, we had records. And we had records. You had to get out of a paper case and put it on a record player. And it had 75 rounds. What? 75 megabytes? No, 70 rounds. I
love your impersonation.
Funny. I do too.
Well, I hope I'm not very good in impersonations, but
no, you are. You are. I'm not making fun of you. I thought it was cute.
There was a great show on the German. I always listen in on the morning to the German radio station, because they always have that comedy bit on, and it always is a great beginning of the day to listen to some comedy. And they actually had a couple of days ago, they had that topic about an old guy explaining his his childhood to his grandkid. And it was great. No. Because I don't watch TV anymore. I only listen in the morning to the radio.
Yes. You don't watch TV, do you, Patricia, either?
No, I do have a television set, a pretty big one in my house. But it's only for DVDs, which I have. I can't even rent for I can't. I don't even know how to rent from Netflix. I probably can do it. The only connection to internet I have is just for my computer that I'm using now.
Right? This
for this
stuff.
And my phone, which would do the same thing. But my TV, it's not. I can't watch anything on it except a movie that I actually put in my multi-region DVD player. And I have a bunch of DVDs, and I still buy DVDs, believe it or not. I actually and I also have a lot of not a lot, but a pretty good selection of record albums for the same reason. I like that idea of putting on the movie and putting on the record. I mean, I've got iTunes.
For people that don't know what she's talking about, a long time ago, we used to have these things called records, and they were these big, and I swear to God, people don't know some of them don't really know what they are. Yeah. And they were these circles, flat circles.
Or fine, yeah.
And they used to have to be put on a machine, and a little needle would spin, and the needle would go, and people could hear music from it. And I am explaining this because I did have people in our chat that had no idea what that was, and I can't even imagine not knowing.
Wow.
Also, a negative, camera negative, a film negative.
Yes, a film negative. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, I had one. I had this young guy helping me out over here when I moved back. And I said, you know what, as a joke, I said, you know what this is? And I held up, a negative. He's like, no. I was like, so I had to explain to him what a negative was.
It is funny to try to even explain the word negative. Like, it's a negative. What do you mean it's a negative?
Well, next time, show him an old floppy disk.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Or what about an 8-track? What about an 8-track?
8-track, yeah.
I used to like them. I think that was one of the best.
I got one for you. This dad showed his kids an old floppy disk, and his kids look at him and go, "Hey, Dad, cool! Someone 3D printed the Save logo."
The what logo?
Yeah.
The Save logo.
Spell that. Maybe it's hard to tell where you are.
Oh, the logo when you press when you save something from a file.
Oh my
logo.
gosh.
That's the same logo, yeah.
Got it now.
Oh my God, my mind is totally blank. I don't even see it.
See, I don't even understand how those kind of printers work. I mean, theoretically, I kind of understand, but I've never used one. The whole idea is mind-blowing.
Really simple.
Okay, explain.
With resin, like I make resin pieces, jewelry pieces.
Mm-hmm.
All it is doing is going back and forth, just like how an MRI scan is.
Yes.
Is laying down just a little bit of layer of resin.
But
sometimes they use other materials, but I know the one I seen they were using resin.
Okay, so you can't just walk up to one and say, "I want a coffee cup," and it lays down a bunch of porcelain, and then you use that same machine to say, "I want a ruler," and it makes something out of plastic. They're devoted to that device and loaded up with that material.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Yep.
Well, the way I first heard about them, it was a mainstream news article, and I saw it, and it made it seem like you could make anything. Like, here's a hair comb, here's an ice pick, here's from the same machine. I'm like, what kind of witchcraft is this?
Well, magic is legal now, so
yeah.
Well, it is. I'm not even joking. It really is. Here in Canada, they legalized magic, witchcraft, and dueling this year.
Dueling? Like when you slap somebody with gloves and challenge them to a duel? That's so romantic, except for the death part.
Yeah, except for the death. But yeah, it is. And it's funny. It is. But I also know that the legislation in Alaska also put out something, and I'm sure probably across the whole United States now, having magic as a national treasure.
Now, why? I don't know much about magic. I used to want to be a magician when I was a little girl. I got one of those little toy magic kits and did it in front of my 5th grade class horribly. That kind of magic, pull a rabbit out of a hat or whatever.
Right.
But magic in that sort of witchcraft sense, why, number one, was it made illegal? And now why, number two, is it made legal?
Why is because, like with us, they were trying to shut down our ceremonies at one time, which is the reason why we started making the medicine pouches for people. Our bundles, rather, not the pouches, the bundles. Say if someone came to our community, we would make them a bundle, they'd have it in a bundle, and it'd be like kind of hidden. So, it's right, like sweetgrass, tobacco, and whatever you want to put in there, the sage, and the medicinal stuff. And I think because they were trying to make so much money off of modern medicine and that kind of stuff is the reason why that they did make it illegal, saying that it was black magic when actually the stuff worked. And as we know, it does. Looking at marijuana, that's all part of the medicinal stuff, right? So them wanting to push pharmaceuticals instead, of course they're going to make something else illegal that grows and that you can get anywhere. They would never make a profit. This is why I think they illegalized it.
But how do we define what magic is? Is magic something magical, like a beautiful flower or a butterfly or birth of a baby. That seems magical. To make
Right.
something illegal, are we saying that things that can't easily be explained
Exactly. That's
are
exactly what
bad?
tarot card reading. They're talking about all that stuff is all mixed together with the witchcraft magic that's made legal now.
Okay, so
So you are allowed to do this stuff now where you weren't allowed before. You could get charged for it before if you were doing any kind of, say, hocus pocus kind of deal. Or if it is magic, whereas you can't explain something happening or something that's appearing out of nowhere, whatever. But I think what happened is a lot of these people know how to do this stuff now. So why not make it legal so that they could do it in case they get caught doing something?
well, I
Or
mean,
something.
some would say like
I'm
blood
trying to make
magic,
sense.
like we were talking about blood over intent. I guess that would be called blood
over.
magic. That should be illegal. But I don't
Right.
quite understand it. Although I've looked into, I've seen some videos. I know what to do.
Right. There's good and bad, and no matter what it is, right?
Oh yeah,
There's bad ways of doing things, and no matter what, there's always going to be that yin and yang for everything. Good thing you figure there's so many different ways people use blood. Like, I'm trying to think of a way that without sounding really kooky. How about when people used to prick their fingers and become blood brother, blood sister, blood
exactly. Or sign a document in blood, as opposed to with a pen.
Right.
It was just the way people did it. I get it. It's just like your word is your bond or your blood is your bond. I get that. I get it. I mean, I'm not afraid of doing any of those things.
Right.
I see blood as just being part of my body, so I don't see anything
Exactly.
inherently evil in it.
Me neither. Because our cells are made up of the memories of our ancestors, our parents, because we didn't come out of thin air like the Big Bang did. We came out of our mothers, a product of our mothers and fathers. They came from theirs, and so on and so on.
Mm-hmm.
So we are going to have all those cells. So that's why it's so easy for when myself, I help people unlock their Akashic records, which is your own personal library of the cells, the memory that's inside your cells.
Wow.
Which is very true. Like sometimes people say, I think I had a past regression, when sometimes all you are doing is remembering stuff that one of your parents had happened to them or whatever. Because I know that's happened to me, where I described an incident that I remember telling my mother all about it. I remember sitting in the backyard. I remember swinging my feet, and I told her the place and everything, and she said, that didn't happen to you. That happened to me.
Oh my gosh.
And then the same thing. And then so when I said this to her, then she told me a story of, she remembers my grandmother being at a dance with my grandfather, and they got into an argument, and she went running down the street, and my mother said she remembers being there and all this stuff. And my grandmother got really upset with her and said, who told you that? I've never told anybody that.
Oh, wow.
My grandmother's memory.
Oh my gosh. Well, that's like babies born and
Yeah.
then they become quite young children, and they tell their mother that they were in the past life their mother at one point in time or something.
Absolutely.
And they're not lying because they're not, of age where they would be understanding lying. And then later they forget all about it. It's pretty cool. The blood over intent thing, cool. The idea of it on the surface of making a list of things you intend to do with your life,
right. Signing your own personal contract, you mean?
It's just like a to-do list, but on a much deeper spiritual level about what you intend to do. Yeah. Or like, I'm just going to make it up. Like, I intend to be a wonderful wife and a wonderful human being, and a great mother to my children, and impact my community in a positive way, and etc. That, and then if you signed it in blood, is that quote witchcraft? Is it necessarily bad? Is witchcraft bad? I don't know any witches, so I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. There's a good and bad, because they used to call us witches.
Oh, interesting.
Because we did certain things and it would heal people, magically heal people. Because we use sweetgrass as a medicine and go around somebody very ill and help them and heal them using just smoke, like the smoke from the sage and the smoke from the sweetgrass and all that. And because we are made up of cells, which is like smoke can go through. You figure Or say, for instance, if you're sitting around a campfire, you go camping or whatever, you smell like it for days. And even though you take a shower, you still smell like it. It's because that smoke goes through your body. It stays there for a little bit. Happens with the medicines that come out of these things like sweetgrass and stuff, right? So when they were healing people this way, there's like, that's witchcraft. Must be evil. When actually it wasn't evil.
Yeah, I think a lot of things people don't understand, especially in days gone by, they would put it in the category of evil or witchcraft or devil or demon, when instead it's just people that have reached a different level, not better or worse, but a different level of ways that they can manipulate material things here on Earth, like plants.
Your vibration.
Or thoughts even, thoughts like
manifestations.
Positive thinking, the power of that. Oh no, that's Satanish. That's Satan-esque to do positive thinking and that sort of thing. Why? I mean, positive thinking about, I'm going to give a speech and I'm going to give a very good speech and it will benefit everybody. Why is that demonic? I don't get it.
And that's when people don't understand the word Satan. All it means is the opposer, the adversary. There's actually a verse in the New Testament where Peter is called Satan.
Oh, wow.
I don't think Jesus was calling Peter the devil,
Right. So it's just a word like you are the enemy. The enemy of good, I guess, or something.
When you say that this world is ruled by Satan, well, yeah.
Oh, I get it.
I mean, it's ruled by the oppressor.
Interesting. I like that way better now that you've said it that way, because it doesn't mean the cartoon character that in red with the devil horns, or however you want to perceive this one fallen angel. It can just be collectively, bad, darkness.
Yes. And that's all the word Satan means.
I hated that I just even said darkness is bad. Darkness is not. It's a part of the balance. Dark, light, So I scratch that from what I just said, and I'll just say bad, bad intent, bad actions, not darkness. We need darkness.
Well, you know what? You can't appreciate light until you know the darkness a little bit, right?
Yeah, exactly. And we need the darkness to sleep and replenish and recover and rest our eyes. And, we wouldn't be able to see stars if we didn't have the darkness. So it is a plus. It's not a minus. This kind of conversation that we're having is the kind of conversation that you'd have when you were in high school if you were really, really stoned, if you ever did that sort of thing. It just reminds me of a conversation of all of these.
Well, now who says that
people.
I'm not, though?
But you know what I mean? These kind of conversations, I think in Flat Earth, a lot of us have these conversations on Hangouts, and we have them in our own heads. Mm-hmm. And you might have a close friend or family member you can have these kind of conversations with. But for the most part, you don't. But it is something as a young adult, I think many of us had, those kind of the wonderment of life conversations. Flat Earth does bring back the wonderment of life because everything is fresh again. It's not all been discovered already. We're in the process of rediscovering who we are, how our bodies work, how the world works. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, even you were talking about people who thought certain people had the devil do devilish things in magic. Also, here in Germany, there are stories about people with red hair that were considered evil and demonic. People throughout history have thought red hairs were evil in Germany. And I have also a text here. In medieval times, people thought that red hair was associated with the heretical nature of the Jews and their rejection of Jesus. And therefore, Judas was depicted as a redhead in most paintings. During the witch hunts of the 16th and 17th century, Christians in Europe and some women were burned at the stake for the very red hair. And it's seen as a sign of guilt of witchcraft. Satan and Jane were often depicted with red hairs to show the evilness as well.
Yeah, and it's, I was born a redhead. Now I use henna to help it. But I have heard people say things like, oh, she's a witch. She has red hair. Burn her. Pretty much.
There are a lot of stories here also in Germany about red hair being evil and from the devil. I also have red hair. Ginger,
Also, left-handed people
therefore, I
are
did
supposed
some
to be
research
from the
about
devil.
Sorry?
Who?
Have you guys ever heard about left-handed people and the devil?
Yes, I think I have read that once a long time
Because
ago.
the devil was, they say that the devil was left-handed. I talked to my grandma about that one day. I straightened her out on that.
Wow.
I explained to her, I was like, well, because like, okay, if Christ was the right hand of God, what's that leave left?
What if you were
It's
redhead
left-
and left-handed then?
Oh.
Yeah.
Run.
Oh.
Then they probably would imagine that like the church would burn down if you walked through the doors.
Funny. Well, redheads are the smallest number in the populace worldwide, supposedly, if we can believe the numbers they give us. 1% or 2%, I don't know. But in some areas where witchcraft was the charge, there were more redheads than maybe like in India or something, you know? So I have no idea. It was just an easy target, you know? Look at those 50 people with dark hair and look at those 2 with red hair. They're guilty. That could even be it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
What I also think what the case was because they only were white people in some areas, a lot of white people, and basically the red hairs were the colored people. With the school at kindergarten, most of the people had brown hair or blonde hair, and they were basically all white. There wasn't any African American or Native American or
Me too.
people. Nobody. So I was considered a colored people because of my red hair.
Interesting.
Yeah. They will say to me,
Wow.
"Hey, you're a colored people. Yeah, you have red hair, so therefore you are
That's so cute.
basically strange because you have a different hair, and it's not indeed very common, and therefore they thought, well, you are the strange person with red hair, so we must be aware of you." That's how they treated people here in Germany, because still also in nursery rhymes, they're even told about red hairs as being evil persons.
Oh wow, I never heard those. Thank goodness.
I've always liked
But you know,
red hair. I always thought it was great.
You pull it off very well.
Thanks.
You're a very beautiful redheaded lady.
Thanks.
And don't, like I told you before, don't let anybody make you feel terrible because you're pretty. You know,
Oh, thank you for saying
because
that.
they do judge book by cover for some reason.
You have to be pretty on the inside, don't you? Skin is skin when you get
Exactly.
older, but on the inside.
For sure.
That's right. But you know
Can
what's
I just say-
really interesting, I find? Okay, sorry.
Oh, just 1 second. Artist, what are you showing on your icon then? You're showing us some icon something.
Oh, the same thing. I looked it up for people to see how it is.
The old disc,
Okay.
the A drive.
Because it's often used as a save icon. So if you want to save a document still on your computer today, it has that icon. So therefore, I thought let's show the picture.
The
so
floppy.
everybody understands.
Educate.
That's cool.
Yeah. What
And
I
also,
find interesting.
I'd have to say, I'm sorry because I'm a bit older. I dye my hair.
Me too.
But it's almost the color I was,
Me too.
except I was almost black hair, but very dark brown. But when the sun used to shine on my hair, the color it shined was like the color that's in your hair, Patricia.
Interesting.
You know, that's natural hair has a two-tone, doesn't it?
Yes, exactly.
My hair was almost ginger, I don't know. What do you call it? Brunette, red.
Ginger, people call me, or I call myself a redhead, but in the UK it would be considered ginger, yeah. But
that's the color that would shine like when the sun was shining on it. But I was actually almost black. My hair was almost black.
that's cool though.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Well,
Yeah. See, so
My
hair-
mother's
seen all
hair
of
was
it.
so dark that it looked like a blue tint.
Oh, I've seen that. That is beautiful.
Yeah, my mother had beautiful.
My hair was
beautiful
this exact color growing up. I have tons of photos on my Facebook of me as a child and through all of my years. And then when I started to get fade, that my gray is more like a blonde faded color. It's weird, not gray classic. I don't think that happens to redheads. I think redheads might, I'm not sure, I'm only speaking for myself, get more of a blondish yellow color. but I wanted to stay a redhead. So I found henna, which is a plant that all
I
it
love
is a
henna.
plant that's like
Yes.
powdery green plant material that you mix with a vinegar, in my case, or you can use lemon juice, and then boiling water and put it on your head, and an hour later, voila, there you go. So I've been using henna for many years. I've never used box dye, or whatever dye from the salon. Nothing wrong with that if people want to do it. But luckily that plant dyes my hair back to my normal color. To when my mom died in 2014 saw me before she died, she never thought I'd change my hair color. You know what I mean? To her, it was just an even transition of my hair being always the same. But in the bright light, my hair is fiery orange. But on YouTube, it's more of a darker color because of, outdoor lighting. Like Karen was saying, outdoor lighting brings out all sorts of beautiful highlights. And I love that blue color and black hair, or the red tones in dark hair. I think it's gorgeous. Nature's always better than, artificial, for sure.
It's even with the gemstones. Some gemstones, if you have them in your house with artificial light and you take them outside, they have a totally different color.
Yes, very true.
So there you go then. My hair was not now though, I'm afraid, because I dye it. But
they have a dye. They have a henna dye, the dried henna powder. I'm sure you can find it in the UK or on Amazon, where they have the henna that I use, but then they add some black color to it. I don't know the name of it. Somebody who knows more about this. So it's basically henna with some other black plant dye in it that adds a red tone and a black tone at the same time. That might recapture your hair that you're speaking of. Oh, Cat's Eyes is in your chat, by the way.
Yeah, she's actually Cat's Eyes returned.
Yeah. I love Cat's Eyes icon. There's something about that picture of that cat that so cute.
No,
yeah, so cute indeed.
Cat.
That cat looks so endearing, doesn't it?
I know, it's like the cutest cat. I shouldn't say that because my cats will be angry, but kind of cuter than mine. But don't tell anyone. So cute. FZAN, Fazane, I never pronounced that right, but says I have a red beard. Huh. Then we have Redbeard. Isn't Redbeard also a classic historical figure?
Yeah, a pirate.
Mm-hmm.
It was a pirate. I have a red beard. I can't show you a picture, but I have a red beard. So, some people said it to me. Hey, red beard. I say, well, red beard the pirate.
I think there was.
I've seen your beard.
It's even a comic book strip, Redbeard.
And also, I think it was an emperor as well. So I think it was just a thing. But it seems like red hair was also in England part of royalty for quite a long time.
But what about all the Irish people? They were pretty much all redheads.
Yeah,
and that's a whole
Scottish
place,
as
right?
well.
Ireland.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So, yay, redheads.
Yeah. we have a few too that it's funny because these there's a couple gingers, whatever you want to call them, regular people to me, but there's some in our community and both parents have dark hair. You know what I mean? Both parents are very native and they end up having a couple ginger children.
That's cool though.
I think it's in the genes. Sometimes you have half of your genes contain the red-haired gene, but it doesn't show. But you still have the gene in you. And then if you have another person who also has half, the chances of getting kids that have red hair again are higher. So it's probably still in their genes from a past generation, but sometimes it pops up.
We've got F Zane says his friends call me Zane, so I'm going to call him Zane now because it's so much easier than it's like Fazane or Fezanane, or I'm like, oh, Zane it is.
I think it's Fazane, isn't it?
You have a nice chat going, Karen. A lot of nice people in there. Good, nice conversation.
Yeah.
So about witchcraft for a second, I want to talk about it for just a second. Is when the women, it was women that got burned, not the men. It was women. Midwives was one. and all they did was help deliver babies. And here they got in trouble because they weren't doctors. They said they were witches. They would burn them also. You know,
Well, even today in modern times, if a woman is pregnant and wants to use one midwife, oftentimes regular doctors try to talk you out of it and want to get you in that hospital and get you on those pharmaceutical drugs and all that. Yep.
What's saying in chat? Is there anything good in there? I mean, I know there's something good in there. Everybody's always very kind to her.
Diva Dante says there is a New Zealand, I've read this before too, I forgot. There's a New Zealand tribe of Maori who often have red-headed, blue-eyed
They're
children.
all red hair.
DNA says they come from Persia.
I program about her originally. One of the ladies they tested, she came from oh my goodness, where is it? It's not a country anymore, but she'd come from, you know, not quite Europe, but she'd come from there originally, and then they had walked and they had walked and they had walked, and in the end, cultures, other people, interlinked, but still kept walking until they got to New Zealand, isn't it? What is it called?
Yeah, because we have some that come up here for our powwow. We have a powwow every July. Everybody's welcome. You guys are all welcome. It's always that weekend of the 17th, 18th, that weekend. And we have some people that come up from there, from their tribes where they're very dark and red hair and green and blue eyes, and they're so beautiful.
I can't think where it's called now, where she came from, but it's the Middle East. That's where they came from. Well, her strand part of her family had come from the Middle East.
This is so weird. I've looked up, because of what's been discussed in the chat, that there are Iranian redheads, and it says most Europeans, including Celts, excluding Finns, Hungarians, and Basques, are descended from Indo-European horsemen that invaded Europe from the Central Asian steppes, and they had red hair. So a lot of Iranians look Irish/ginger/redhead.
Do you know, I found, I can't produce it right now, I'd have to try and find it, but originally there was this Egyptian princess. She left Egypt and she supposedly married and lived in Scotland, because they did a gene pool of the men in Europe, and more people had her gene.
Oh, wow.
So the Europeans have an Egyptian gene, but if you go to Egypt now, they don't have her gene. So it's like, what? We're more Egyptian than the Egyptians? Right, okay.
Mark Ofsky says the native people of Tenerife were red-headed, tall, pale-skinned people. Tenerife to many Americans means nothing, but I know when you live in the UK, it's a vacation destination, beaches.
Yeah, it's off
lots of
Africa.
fun. Yeah.
Spanishy, but it's off Africa. There's three of them.
Yeah.
Think of the other ones right now, but there's 3 or 4 islands there, but they're just off of Africa, but they're Spanishy destination.
We've learned all sorts of things during this show. Amazing. And we've hardly really talked about flat Earth at all. But it's all flat Earth in the end, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, for sure. It's all related in some way to flat Earth.
Karen, thank you for having me on. I have to go now. And I appreciate you understanding about Rory my cat running away earlier. So sorry.
I felt really bad
Patricia,
about that.
It's so nice to talk to you, and I just seen your email right now that you sent. I didn't know that you sent me another one.
Canary Islands. It's called Canary
So
Islands.
I'll answer that in a few seconds.
Thank you,
I'm sorry
Karen,
I didn't see it.
for having me on.
Yeah, thank you, Karen, for having Patricia on.
Takes a couple of seconds for my camera to come back on.
My camera oftentimes pops off and pops on. I just turned it on purpose this time, though. I think it's me moving my mouse over the screen that does it, to be honest. But I put my camera back on.
It's magic.
It'll just take a second.
I'm so used to have a camera on when I talk. It's just the way I do my shows that I feel that I like to see the people, when I talk. So, there you are.
Hi. Long life.
Hey, wait, you're wearing a different shirt than you were wearing before.
No, same one.
Okay, your hair was down before.
Before?
What? Mandela effect?
Today I am. Usually I have it down, but it's up tonight.
Got it.
Anyway, really glad that Rory's okay and he was in the drawer.
Rory, my cat, was in the drawer. Never
Yeah,
again.
all of my things.
I don't know what to do about that. I'm so relieved. You know, it's weird
have
how
to
we think
stack
we
his
have our
boxes.
problems. We have our little problems. We all have problems in life, like with maybe bills or this or that, or something's going wrong on YouTube, any little problem. But when somebody, I'm going to say my cats are somebody, when somebody you love, when there's a problem with somebody you love or with your own health, all of a sudden, bam, nothing else matters. And when I thought Rory ran away, I was like literally thrown into a panic outside, calling his name in the street, thinking, oh my God, he's dead, going to the worst possible place when he's comfortably sleeping in one of my drawers at home. So I really feel like I'm on a high because Rory's okay. Life is beautiful. Anybody can make a hit piece on me today. I won't care because Rory's alive.
That's important. Yeah, you love your cats very dearly. We know that, so we understand.
Yeah. All right. Well, Canary Islands, according to Mark Ofsky. Canary Islands. Okay, so that's where Tenerife is.
Yeah. I just couldn't remember what it was at that moment.
I want to go there someday. I want to go to Hawaii, where I've never been, even if I lived close, not really close, but closer than where I live now, which is
You must. You must.
I lived in California for a great number of years, which would have been a better trip to Hawaii. But did I go? No. Why? I don't know. And I live here in Texas and haven't been to Mexico, which a lot of people go there. I haven't, but I've been to a lot of European cities. It seems to be where I end up going. So maybe I need to switch it up. Oh, hello to Mr. Poncho Pete Chan Strong, who's in the live chat.
Oh, yeah. Or Pete.
I don't know. That's why I didn't specify.
Hi, Vinny or Pancho.
Oh, both.
I'm going to bet it's Pete. Just a bet, not unsure. But I did come on to say, I turned my camera on and you turned yours on so I could say goodbye. So goodbye to everyone. I appreciate talking to everyone that's here. And we didn't really talk at all. Sad. But
2 hours ahead of me. She's in Israel.
Is she on with you often? Because I just don't know much about her.
Judith and Patricia are always on. They're really amazing friends and they really help me, but sometimes they say a lot.
Well, the thing is that whenever I come out on one of your hangouts, everyone's talking and then there's a few people not talking and I always think, oh my gosh, did I talk too much? Did I not allow them to talk? But I do understand that Patricia, UK Patricia, doesn't talk that much. So I just don't want to be, hogging it all up or something. Anyway,
Patricia, she's a bit of a Wi-Fi problem, but Judith, I think she's probably asleep because I think she.
Yeah, because she's in Israel, right? She's in Israel.
Yeah. Really glad about Rory. I'm really glad that you came on, Patricia.
Thank you.
Thanks for Patricia.
Woohoo for everybody.
Yeah.
And I do have a show tomorrow, if anybody's interested, which is the 1st of December, believe it or not. I have a guy on who I met at the Flat Earth Conference, the one in Raleigh, North Carolina, and his name is Mike Marshalak, and he's doing this thing called exploringagain.com, and it's all talking about exploring Antarctica. So going to talk to him about what his idea is. He wants to do it as a transparent sort of fundraiser for the community to unveil any deception that's going on there. So anyway, that's going to be a guy named Mike talking about his website called exploringagain.com tomorrow at 5 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. Eastern on my channel. And I hope everyone joins me for that. We'll see what's going on. Goodbye, Marlene. I hope I hear back an email from you and Artis and our very own Flat Earth Uber driver. Have you been driving the whole time while you've been talking or just chilling, Josh?
Actually, I was delivering packages for Amazon right now, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
I've been driving around.
I didn't know you did that too. That's cool. Okay. Talk to everyone later. Thank you, Karen, and goodbye, Judith, even if you might be sleeping. Thanks, live chat, for chatting with me, and I'll be listening off as I handle something I've got to drive somewhere. So bye.
See
Bye.
you soon, Patricia. Thank you.
Have a good night, Patricia.
Ooh, we've been going now for nearly 4 hours. Do you think it's time for us to? Oh, I've got a black eye. Do you think it's time for us to finish now? Because it's 1:30, isn't it? I need my glasses. I can't see.
It's almost half.
Yeah, it's 1:30.
It's almost here. Half
Yeah, it's
past
2:30
2.
for you.
Yeah.
Does anybody want to talk for a bit more? Shall we? For today. Uber.
I talked about the things I want to talk
They've gone
about.
quiet now. I'm talking.
Yeah. Well, we covered a lot of things, so.
We did.
That was
That
beautiful, Karen. Thank you so much for inviting me in. It was beautiful. I loved every moment of it.
Pleasure. Do you think we should wrap up now, though? Because we've been going for 4 hours nearly.
Yeah.
Yeah, why not?
Well, it's up to you.
Trisha, you're still listening. I never say goodbye. I say I'll see you later.
Anyway, thank you everybody in the chat room. Still don't know if that's Poncho, Pete, or Vinny. Ha ha, cheeky, cheeky. Thanks to everybody in the chat room, everybody that's watching, and everybody on the panel. Really nice hangout. And back tomorrow with FPV's work. Big flat earth hugs to everyone.
Big hugs.
So, good night from us.
Good night.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
A free Lennart per year. Yeah.